We're live, guys. How you doing? So, let me introduce everyone because we've got someone new tonight. We've got the usuals, though, the usual crew. We've got Mark Cloer, the sultry Mark Cloer. We got here tonight. We got Darren, of course, from the amazing YouTube show Sleeve Saturday. How you doing, Darren?
How's it going?
Looking as cool as always. We've got Jam, looking very cool in his maiden shirt, of course. And we've got a new guest on here today, and
Welcome.
she's always commenting on our shows, but she's actually come on. It's Gina. How you doing, Gina?
Welcome.
I'm great. Thank you for having me, guys. I love it, love it, love it. I'm so excited, and just to show you on my shirt again. Woo!
Nice, very good. So joining in the fun, that's brilliant. We've got some cool shirts there tonight. Actually, I like Mark's. It's very cool. Very cool. I think he takes the biscuit for the cool shirt tonight. What do you think? What do you think about that? So
he always gone generic. Mark's gone cool.
So 1986, what a year! And also, just to say, Jonathan for some reason ain't here yet, but I reckon he will turn up. But it's a bit strange, but it's all right because we all vote for these albums, and whatever Jonathan's voted for, someone else would have voted for it, so it's fine. We can still chat about it. But I haven't heard anything from him, but that's fine. He's bound to join soon. If not, it's fine. So 1986, guys. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've said it before. This is the year for me. This is the year. Oh, it's not for Jam. It's not for Jam. But it is for me. What have you actually got? Have you actually got? Oh, so Gina's with me. Has anyone else got a favourite year that they actually know off the bat?
Probably 1990.
1990. Yeah.
Maybe the previous. Yeah, 87 for me too. The last one we done.
Is that you as well, Mark? 87.
Yeah, probably 86 and 87 are very close, but
yeah.
Probably 87 by hair.
Yeah, cool. So anyway, we've got a few people watching. We've got Brian, who ain't with us tonight, but he's here.
What's up, B?
Hi, Brian.
He actually says you're a lot better looking than he is, Gina. So that's all right. I do agree. You got Delina, of course. She's here to give Darren some stick tonight.
Absolutely.
John Cassandro. I don't know if John's been on before. I think he might have popped on before, but I know John is a good guy. Greetings, everyone. Much love to all. So it looks like Jonathan's just got to Mexico, so I don't know if he's going to be on because they're recording in Mexico, Deny the Fallen. So Delina, 86 was great, 87 was the best. Somebody also agrees with you guys there. And X Metal is on. So great, some guys watching already and commenting. So what we do, if anyone doesn't know who's watching, we voted for these albums beforehand. So we go through the ones with the 2 votes first. And this is the first time that everyone has voted for one album. So we've got a top album that everyone has put a vote against, just to let you know. It's the first time. So that'll come last, obviously, that one. But the first one I'm going to speak about, actually, Jonathan and myself voted for this one. I was going to let Jonathan speak about, but I'm going to let Jam as well go. We're going to go on about this album. So it's Rap and Dancing Undercover. So, I mean, for me, this has grown on me, this album, because it was a bit of a disappointment, I've said before, compared to Invasion of Your Privacy, which for me was or Privacy to you guys, Invasion of Your Privacy, yeah?
Yeah.
But for me, yeah. So this one and the one before, the debut album, and the one after, Invasion of Your Privacy, was just some of the best albums of their career for me. And then this came out. I was a bit disappointed, but like I said, it's grown on me. What about you, Jan? Dancing Undercover. You didn't actually vote for this, but you know a bit about it, don't you?
Yeah, it's one of them albums. I knew it was on this year, and I looked at it, but I was thinking the first Rat EP, which I loved, first 2 albums, which I absolutely loved. Obviously, Invasion for me is my favourite Rat album as well. And this one was slightly not as good. Love the cover, by the way. We've talked about on our 86 Kilo, I won't talk about that, but there's some great songs on this album, but it was slightly dipped for me as well. I think I'm the same. It's probably why I didn't vote for it. But I mean, I love this. I mean, Dance, and Slip of the Lip. I mean, Slip of the Lip's brilliant, isn't it? I was just watching the old football just now. Watch Wales lose, what shame. And then I had an hour or so to put some tunes on, and I was blasting all the songs we're going to be talking about tonight, and put these 2 songs on. Absolutely fantastic. But not as an album, not for me, but I think some great songs on it.
You're right there. That's what it was. It was consistency, I think, on this album, the Rat one. Even the song titles in the end became a bit bland, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they couldn't really think of anything original. But like I said, I mean, Body Talk, for instance, is a totally different song for them. Absolutely brilliant. A great album, but just quite not quite what they had before. But they had a lot to live up to, didn't they? I mean, if you consistently making albums as good as they did was never going to be an easy task. So the next one that 2 voted for, we got Jam and Gina voted for this one. So this is Wasp, Inside the Electric Circus. I only got 2 votes on this. The funny thing is, on this we got a few Wasp fans here. We all like Wasp to a certain extent, but we only had 2 votes on this, so that sort of means something. So, I mean, Gina, I did say that I did give you a couple of albums that you're going to start on, but you can talk about this one a little bit if you want, and then Jam. So, what do you reckon on this Wasp album? Was it as good as the ones before it?
Honestly, I am a Wasp fan, but I'm not familiar with their albums. So honestly, I couldn't really tell you about Wasp very much. There's a few songs that I do like. I don't know if it's even with the same year. But I'll let Jam take that one because I need to take a hard pass on that.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
What do you reckon, Jam, on this one then, mate?
Yeah, I mean, this is from probably the first period of what we call Party Wasp, I guess. The first 3 albums.
Yeah.
The first album is absolutely fantastic. And second album, Last Command's really good as well. And this is probably the worst of the 3 in a way, but it's still a good album. There's some good songs on it. It's still the classic lineup with Blackie and Chris and Johnny Rod and all that, Steve Riley on drums. But for me, when I first got into Wasp, it was Live in the Raw album, which was basically the live show of this album. This is the tour that it was recorded on in '87. So for me, that's when I first got into Wasp. So the first song, Inside the Electric Circus, is the first song on the live album. So that's where I got into it. But it's certainly not as good as the others. I mean, the first track, I Don't Need No Doctor, which is a cover version, but it's a great song. 95 Nasty are my favourite songs. But I mean, they're pretty good. But I mean, it's certainly not as good as the other. I don't like the production on it particularly. I'm not a big thing on production. I'm not really knowledgeable enough to know about stuff like that. You could just sound it sounds a bit tinny to compare to some of the albums. And it's and then after this they brought out The Headless Children, which is a classic, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And so it's a good album. It's not a brilliant album, but it's
totally agree. And I'm a bit like you guys as well, because it was quite a dip. I didn't vote for it. I was trying to compare it sometimes to the ones before, and I think it was such a dip for me that I didn't put it on the list. But I do sort of like it, but it's not up there with the best, if you know what I mean. Let's look through a few. We've got a few comments here. We've got John Cassandro said it was a big year for Christian metal, actually, along with Striper. It weren't just Striper that we might get along to later. We've got Baron Cross, Bloodgood and Bride were also bands from that period. X Metal says Messiah Prophet. I've never heard of Messiah Prophet. No? Have you, Mark?
Yeah, you have, because I mentioned them too.
Well, you know what I'm like. You know what I'm like with that stuff. So,
that must be on your list that you never listen to, Lee.
Exactly.
That's my list. Exactly. Yeah. So my daughter Amber's watching. She said it's disappointing not to hear Vamp meowing his head off. So, but the thing is, Vamp, he's lost his voice. He's meowed so much, he's got a sore throat at the moment. So even if he was here, you wouldn't be able to hear him. So there you go.
Poor thing.
Brian's joining in with the Wasp thing, actually, released October 86. So he's giving us a bit of detail there, but produced by Blackie Lawless. Perhaps you shouldn't have said that because the production was awful. So Blackie, get someone else to fucking do your production in the future. You know what I mean? So look, he's got the album out though. Look, even though he didn't vote for it, of course he did.
Mark would too.
Well, I feel bad for not voting for it because, as you know, Lee, I love Wasp. This is definitely my least favorite of the classic lineup. Yeah, this is where Blackie really started to take control of the band.
Yeah,
it was.
I'll tell you what,
it was kind of evident on The Last Command, but I mean, by this time it was Blackie and a supporting cast. And
I tell you what, though, Mark, you can't believe he's gone from this and then done Headless Children a couple of years later, can he? Because it's just songwriting and the
huge
everything
improvement.
so much better. You know,
I agree.
It's
That's
weird,
probably
isn't it?
why I
It's
took
like,
a hard pass.
yeah.
I took a hard pass on that one. Yeah, I'm not familiar.
But
It's strange, isn't it? It's like just click. It just must click for songwriting sometimes, and sometimes it just goes like bang, and then it's there. You know,
It's nothing new. There can be a jarring change sometimes from greatness to shite, or from shite to greatness. It can. Happen.
Yeah,
You know?
without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Interesting one to see that change, though. You're definitely right. I mean, at the time, I loved the album, but it quickly I could realise the faults in that album at the same time. The next one, right, we're going to move on. The next one's really interesting because we're going to do a bit of a versus here for the first time. We've got two albums versus each other. Now this is going to cause a bit of grief, I think, between us on here. So we've got, but the only trouble is the one who voted for this album ain't here tonight. I'm on my own against two of you. So
All right.
yeah, we got Van Halen 5150 came out March the 24th. Darren and Jam put their names against that one. No, you didn't, Jam. Shit.
No.
Who was it?
I was going to say Jam didn't call that one, did he?
Who was it? Who put? Was it you, Mark?
No, it wasn't me. It might have been Brian, or could have been Jonathan.
No, it might have been Jonathan then, and it was me and Jonathan with Dave Lee Roth. Eat 'em and Smile came out later on July the 7th. So I was hoping that a few people might comment and say what they prefer, but we can find out why Darren prefers 5150.
We've talked about this album a billion times at this point. You know, you guys know me. Like, I've reviewed this album myself. We've had this conversation so many times. I keep saying it. The previous album was going into this direction anyway with David Lee Roth. Jump could have, I've said it a billion times to you, Jump could have been on 5150 easily. Yeah. I think Mark agrees with me as well. I'm a Sammy guy. I've made no bones about that to you guys. That's not saying that I don't enjoy the previous stuff. I do, but if you told me I could only listen to one singer from Van Halen, it's Sammy every time, and it's this album particularly every time. You know, even just the singles on it. Why Can't This Be Love? That weird little alien song, Love Walks In. I love that. It's dreams. I mean, come on, what a tune that is.
I'll tell you, the funny thing is though, they're the songs that I prefer because I think that suits the sound of that band at that time. So when Sammy sang Love Walks In, Dreams, and all those songs you talk about, I love those songs on the album. I've ripped the piss before, and when Sammy tries to be David Lee Roth or tries to be fun, it doesn't seem right. Hello, baby.
David Lee Roth has the better moves, the better looks, the better persona of the whole band. So, I mean, I love them both, honestly. But if I had to pick, I would stay with David. Sorry.
Yeah, but answer the question then, Gina. Which would you go with? Would you go with David's voice or Sammy's voice?
Hold on a minute. Do you go with Eat 'em and Smile? Do you go with Eat 'em and Smile or 5150? That's the argument.
5150, obviously.
Yes. Well,
I really think.
Sammy is.
They kick their ass.
Yeah, Sammy is better with certain songs.
It's going to have to be a vote then. I'm not familiar with both the albums in entirety, but I know songs off the albums. I suppose we'll have to just do a. Well, there's going to be a majority, isn't there? 5 to 3.
Right. Okay. What was the first single? Let's go with the first single. So the first single that came from the Van Halen album was
Why Can't This Be Love, isn't it?
Why Can't This Be Love? It's got what it takes. Or do you prefer, I'm talking about a Yankee Rose. Come on.
Yankee Rose.
Yes.
Panama. Come on, baby. Panama.
I feel like Mark is far too quiet in all this.
Yes. Let's
I much prefer Hagar. I just prefer the later Hagar album, honestly.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll go with Mark. We'll go with Hagar on this one. But
I will say this for 5150, it does peter out a little bit towards the end. At the last couple of songs are.
I probably know more songs on 5150 than I do on Eat a Smile. To be fair.
Yeah,
I think it hits. I think that, and I don't mind them. I would say that.
What I would say is that one thing sticking up for the Van Halen thing, what they did, I know it did carry on a little bit from 1984, but they did try something different with the Van Halen album. Eat 'em a Smile. It was like Van Halen with just it's just their songs with a different guitarist, but the guitaring was even mental, like Eddie Van Halen's as well. Steve Vai's guitaring.
Steve Vai was good.
Didn't David Lee Roth, for his record though, he did take the producer with him, didn't he? 5150 was produced by Mick
Ted
Jones
Templeman.
of Foreigner. Ted Templeman.
Fair enough. Well,
Yeah,
good.
I think so, yeah.
He went with David Lee Roth, and they brought in Mick Jones from Foreigner to produce 5150.
Well, I'll tell you what, we go to the votes on the comments because a lot of people, it looks like, are going for Sammy Hagar. So we've got Red Devils, Love Walks In is one of the best singles ever, that chorus. Delina's obviously going with Sammy Hagar.
Oh,
The Red Rocker definitely is better, though, hands down. I'm a Sammy guy from Bryan. Obviously, he did actually vote for this album. Sammy by a Country Mile from Paul Anderson. Paul Anderson's joined us. Hello, Paul. So, in the comments, we've got to give it to Van Halen.
well, yeah, there you go. Although Delina, I can't believe it. Traitor.
Yeah.
Right.
1982 DMC also, it says 5150. So, hands down in the comments, it's gone for Van Halen. There you go.
Well, I can only think of Tobacco Road on the Van Halen, the David Lee Roth album, another one.
Yeah.
I don't know in detail, but I can only think of Tobacco Road.
And that was a cover.
Yeah,
So there you go.
So there you go.
Yeah. Okay, that's got that one out of the way. I definitely lost. Anyway,
It's all right.
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So next up, we're going for a band that have just released a new single.
Oh dear. Shall I come back in an hour? Shall I come back in an hour or so?
I know, and that's of course Journey. Journey have just released a single a couple of days ago.
Oh boy.
And we've got Mark and Darren have both voted for this, so I'm going to let Mark lead on this
You
Journey
didn't vote
album.
for yourself. You didn't vote for yourself.
Actually,
Wow.
let Darren take the lead, and then I'll come in. after.
No, Mark, I've done the lead in the last one. Go for it, mate. Go for it.
Well, I voted for this because I knew you would want to talk about it. This
Doesn't
Don't
like
take-
it, but
don't take it the wrong way. I like the album. I just don't love it.
Well, it's a tough one considering that the singers sound almost exactly the same.
Well, this is still Perry though. We're still talking about Perry here.
Perry.
Anyway, I actually saw him on this tour. There you go, Darren.
Of course you did.
November 15th, 1986.
oh wow,
That's my son's birthday, November 15th.
There's the tour book.
Nice.
Tour book.
oh my god, look at this.
That is awesome.
Look at Perry's shirt. It's powerful.
I was very disappointed when this album came out, partly because they had gotten rid of Valerie and Smith, who I thought were crucial parts of the chemistry. I wasn't crazy about the direction overall that Perry was taking them in, that R&B pop sound. They got away from the more rocky oriented vibe of Frontiers, which I absolutely love. Frontiers and Escape were just untouchable to me, and I had high hopes for Raised on Radio, but when it came out, I was like, this is not really the Journey that I love. It is what it is. It's a different type of Journey. I give Perry all the credit in the world for putting Journey on the map, but I also give him all the blame for taking the band in the direction that it went and the eventual downfall of the band.
I don't think he wanted to come back at all, to be quite honest with you.
I don't.
He was coming off the back of his solo record, and he goes, "If I'm going back into this, you're going to do things my way, pal." I want Valerie out, I want Smith out, and I want to go in an R&B direction. I want Randy Jackson in the group, and off we go. Right? So the reason I voted for it is I'm with you, Mark. It's not as good as Frontiers, not even close. And it's not as good as Escape, not even close. But it's still a Steve Perry in the 80s record, or a Steve Perry record in the 80s. And, you know, Be Good to Yourself is just...
I was going to say that's the only song on it to me that actually sounds like a Journey song.
That I think I said in my review of that's the only song that you could have picked up and put on Frontiers.
That and the two ballads. The two ballads on that album were, I rate them as high as any Journey ballads. Yeah,
the only problem is then they go and do something like Positive Touch. It sounds like fucking Donna Summer.
Yeah, I don't think at all.
Although I'm slightly on a different wavelength with you guys a little bit. I do love some of the stuff. So I'll Be All Right Without You. Great song for me. And another one, I was walking around Dundrum Town Centre today with I was doing a bit of shopping and I had my earphones in and I was blasting a bit of Suzanne. I think that's a great track as well.
I was going to say, oddly enough, that's probably my favorite song on the album, and I shouldn't like
Suzanne?
it. Yeah, I probably shouldn't like it because it sounds so dated. Darren, I sent you a video not too long ago of Dean Castronovo doing that song, and he killed that song. I mean, he absolutely slayed it. I didn't know Journey had actually performed it after the Raised on Radio tour until I found that video. That's when I sent it to you.
Great. I loved it.
He did
Absolutely
an
loved
amazing
it.
version of that song.
I honestly cannot say that I dislike any Journey song as far as Perry. I mean, the earlier stuff I just love.
He's got an amazing voice. He's one of them singers that can, without a doubt, even some of them songs on there, which I didn't like, he elevated it to something it wasn't, you know, in the beginning before he sang on it, without a doubt.
Lee, I know you said in your reaction video to their new song you weren't a big fan of this album though. But it has its moments, for sure.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, it does. You
have to be in the mood. You have to be in the mood.
I'm always in the mood for Steve Perry. Sorry, Jan, what were we going to say there, mate?
No, I was just going to say it's like any band. If you're a big fan of the band, you're always going to look for positives in the band, aren't you? I mean, I like loads of bands that have done some really, really dodgy stuff. I mean, I even defend Music from the Elder by Kiss, you know what I mean? I defend some Danzig albums that aren't great sometimes, just because you like the odd song and you just feel that spark of what they used to be. You can just see something in it and, you know, and you try and get through it. And
rose-tinted glasses. Rose-tinted glasses, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, we all get them. We all get it. I think I've included albums on these previous live streams that perhaps I shouldn't have because it's that band.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Nobody's going to fault you for it. You can like what you like.
It's whatever comes naturally to you, actually.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Hey, anything in the comments for Raised on Radio?
Yes. So, right, what we got here? We've got Paul Anderson just says he loves Journey, don't we all? Well, I don't know if Jan does. I'm not really sure. No, he doesn't.
It's not my sort of music. It's not my sort of music. No, at all.
No. You got okay. So Paul Anderson, I've got to hand it to Mark. What a collector he is! I've never seen anyone that has so many old ticket stubs, T-shirts, etc. Yeah, very good. Red Devil says Mark knows Darren very well. I know he wants to talk about it. That's why he chose it.
Red Devil is my friend Alan Hipple. Knows his rock music as well. So good lad.
And of course, Delina says it's still Journey, so it has to make the list.
Brilliant. One last thing I'll say before we move on. Sorry, Jam. One last thing I'll say before we move on. I think it's probably their coolest sleeve cover as well. I love that. We got it. It's buried here. But
there's a cassette anyway.
Yeah. I love it.
Mark out of nowhere. It's them radio masts on top of a Californian hill, and it's got the electricity bolts just clinking against each other. Like I think it's probably their. I just love it. I would have bought it on that, just on the look of it anyway. Anyway, move on, Lee.
It's the most fun Journey-like cover they did back then, too. It didn't have the scarab. It didn't have the classic, Journey vibe.
And as Darren pointed out on a previous show I watched with him, or he said it to me, it's the first time as well for a long time the title of the album wasn't one word like they even are now.
Right.
It was changed. It Raised on Radio instead of Eclipse.
Raised on Radio.
Frontiers or...
Yeah, Escape.
Interesting
and then they
stuff.
had Trial by Fire, and then Steve it goes back to one word.
Yeah. Jonathan's just apologised. He's actually come on, but his internet's so bad in Mexico that he can't make it on. So, okay.
Sorry, Jonathan.
Hey, send Bryan a link. Maybe he can jump on.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't want to mess this up. To tell you the truth,
That's right.
I'm a bit worried. You know what I mean? You know what happened? It'll just go off. You know, it'll just go off.
In the future,
No, it's funny because
the VR code. Is that
what's that?
In the future, you're just going to get a screenshot of a VR code every time you go to a gig.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when he joined last time, he was last minute, but he was ready. He was like, all right, well.
He was. Definitely.
Even though he was,
he was a bit late, but he was ready. He was ready, definitely.
Lido was. I said it to my pals before tonight. There was half a thought of, because you had Michael Sweet on for Mark and the guys, and then Tony Harnell was on. I was convinced I was going to click in here and fucking Neil Sean would be down on the right hand corner. I was maybe he has him.
No, mate. Listen, I reckon, like I said to you before, I think you're more likely to get Neil Sean or Arnell than me. So there you go. Gina.
Yes.
Poison. Look what the cat dragged in. You chose this with Darren. So do you want to talk about Poison a little bit on this album? You got some notes, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Poison. Yes. I was in love with Poison when that album came out.
Most girls were.
Yeah.
It was the big glam thing. I'm honestly not a big Poison fan, but for some reason this album caught my eye. I guess it was just because it was the start of the beginning to kind of realize who Poison was and who they were trying to build as a band. But I mean, let's see. Look what the cat dragged in.
Delina said you've done a good choice, though, Gina. Delina agrees with your choice. She said it's a good album.
It is a good album. I actually had it on vinyl, the original vinyl, and unfortunately, my mom threw away all my vinyls. Which,
oh dear.
Yes. So
yeah, I actually had it on vinyl as well, and I really liked those girls until I got their name.
Girls. Well, I said the same thing when I first heard them and saw them. I'm like, are they chicks or?
Yeah.
But anyway, it was released on May 23rd of '86. They were totally glam. I mean, you can't get any more glam than Poison. Agreed. At that time. They literally did look like chicks. The songs and stuff were pretty cool, but to me it was kind of like a poppy when I express myself, I don't express through words. I kind of express through hand gestures and stuff like that. So for me, it was a little bit too glam.
I thought it was it was a lot better than what's to come for me. I think it was their best album because it had it's really a bit murky. The production as well was a bit more heavier, a bit more they was a bit more dangerous than they became. They became a bit too safe, I think, in the end.
I think if you don't know who they look like, listen to the music. It actually stands up quite well. I think it's a really good album, actually.
And that riff,
it is a great album.
On that title track, that riff is a real dirty riff, isn't it? Yeah. Look what the cat dragged in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So. But I went off of them quick.
Talk dirty. Was it Talk Dirty to me?
Yeah.
Was it only two?
It was catchy. It was catchy.
Yeah, definitely. What was that, Darren?
Catchy.
What? Is it only me and Gina that voted for this?
Yes.
What's not to like here? It's spectacular glam metal.
Not my thing.
Right, okay, here's the deal. The hair, the makeup aesthetic, all that, it's all Sunset Strip of this era, right? Get it, right?
Yes.
But behind all that, right, strip away all that, but Lee getting under his covers, looking at the album sleeve when he's 15 or whatever. Forget all that, right?
Until I realised after it was too late.
yeah. After
Do you
5
know
times,
that-
it was too late. Right?
That album actually was not an immediate success. It wasn't successful until the next year, to the date that it was released.
Yeah, it was a bit like the one we discussed that in the last video with Guns N' Roses. It took its time to get to where it had to get to, and then it blew up. But look, but behind all of that, behind the good looks on the album sleeve and all that, right? If you strip all that behind, you take Bret Michaels and you take CeCe DeVille and strip all that away, they are really good musicians, right? I know we got Ricky Rock and whatever. But Bret Michaels, CeCe DeVille, really good musicians. Strip away all this silly aesthetic and all that kind of stuff.
They click very well.
And this album, like it's fun, it's energetic. You can feel that they're later on they were arguing, and we all know what happened with CeCe DeVille, at award shows and stuff. But at this point, this band are hungry and they want it, and they want it bad, and you can. And they did show
it. Yeah, they did show it in that album. They
Absolutely.
really did.
You can hear that. You can hear that in the record. It's energetic. Obviously, the big single is "Talk Dirty to Me," but the title track if you take a listen to it, it's actually really good. Look at the cat track in. Bret Michaels literally screeches like a cat.
Yeah, I know.
Which is so cool. I love that.
I think that's probably another reason why I meant pop. Like, poppy, because like you said, Darren, I mean, basically their songs were just like in your face, when it came out, and they wanted to grab the attention, and they really did.
This band, they're actually blamed a little bit as well for the end of that music. Some people blame them because it went a bit too much. And that was the end of that glam scene because of them. I'm not saying it's that, but they're saying that they came in at the end, doled it up a bit too much, and destroyed it a little bit.
I don't agree with that because it's 1986. So there's plenty more people glamming up after 86. This is their debut album. They were doing this after that. Yeah. So I don't think they killed it. No,
and they did immediately lose it. Really, next time they came out, they had the jeans and the t-shirts on, didn't they? Yeah. After this.
And I think Open Up and Say, what's it called?
Well,
Open Up and Say is a very, very, very good album. Obviously, it's got the classic ballad on it, and they've matured as songwriters. And I think they are overlooked a little bit, but this album
and another cat aesthetic on the sleeve cover. But if you're going to blame them for that, Lee, if you're saying that they're being blamed for the end of this kind of stuff, well, then take a look at Motley Crue. Take a look at anything. I mean,
I was about to say something about that. Their album cover was compared to Motley Crue's '83 "Shout at the Devil."
Yeah, the only thing is, Motley Crue were they were the start. They invented it. They were the first people. But I'm not saying Poison did.
No, they were hardcore.
People try to look for reasons the blame, don't they? To what? Who knows? Too many bands sounding like each other. That's probably
where are we? Last question on this. Then where are we on Bret Michaels? Are we? We'll go with Caesar. Yes. No. Where are we at him? Where are we?
What, now or then?
Then.
Yeah, he was cool.
I actually heard that Bret Michaels wears a wig now.
You think?
I'll tell you what, I'd wear a wig to have his life.
I don't know.
Well, put it this way, I enjoyed Bret Michaels a lot more before I turned the cover over and realised it was a bloke. There you go.
Was that the cover of the bed or the cover of the album?
I was honestly never a Poison fan. No disrespect to anybody that likes them. I just always thought they were more image than substance.
Yes.
And it always pissed me off to no end that Poison became almost a household name. I mean, you can mention Poison even now and people have heard of them, but yet a band like Dokken, who had more talent in their pinky fingers, never really hit it big. I never quite understood the.
And Dokken is awesome.
It's got to be the hits. It's got to be the hits, Mark, and it's got to be the hits. So.
Mark, I love you, but you're not. I get it. Dokken are great, You're not right. They don't have more talent in their pinky finger.
Let me put it this way.
In their pinky finger. They don't.
If
Dokken has really good ballads.
If Poison was playing in my backyard, the only reason I would go out there would be to tell him to get the hell out of my yard.
Yeah. You don't like the look of the band. That's all it is.
Listen, and CeCe DeVille, and this is saying something, is a poor man's Mick Mars.
Yeah.
Yes. Poor thing. Well, I mean, he did make an ass out of himself, you know.
He did.
But
anyway.
I mean, he's really talented. He is absolutely brilliantly talented as, you know, playing guitar, but he's just so messed up.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying, Gina. That's all I'm saying to Mark is that, like he's saying, more talent, talking to more talent in their pinky finger. That's undercutting CeCe DeVille and Bret Michaels completely. They're talented musicians. Strip away. That's what I was trying to say. Strip away the ridiculous look, and you know they're talented.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Don Dokken and Georgia Lynch
in their prime for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all about opinions, Lee. That's what it's all about.
Of course it is. And the next. So talk about opinions. The next opinion really counts because it's mine. So me and Jonathan voted for this. Jonathan can't be here, but hopefully he'll comment anyway. But Crimson Glory's album, a lot of you guys don't know if you've heard these guys. I think Mark might have done.
Yeah, I listened to some of them after y'all have gone on so much about it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've listened to it because you keep talking about them.
Yeah, so they were very, and like a lot of bands back then, sounded like other bands. They really resembled to Queensryche a lot. But they're an amazing band. The two albums, this one and especially the next one, Transcendence, but we're talking about the self-titled debut album, is absolutely superb. They are amazing musicians. The singer passed away. He was one of the best singers in metal for sure, but didn't last long enough. Progressive metal band. Crimson Glory are amazing band, but just such a sad thing with the singer. Obviously, Todd LaTorra joined them later on. I thought I was going to get loads of more music, but he did something cool. We went to Queensryche and revived them instead, so that was a good thing. But Crimson Glory, what an amazing band. So check them out, guys. I won't speak too much. Jonathan ain't here to speak with me, but I've got a few comments here, actually. Ex-Metal Dokken is better than Poison, hands down. CeCe, did you know that, Darren, that CeCe DeVille nearly joined Stryper or was in Stryper at some point?
Yeah.
So he didn't want to join, but he didn't want to join Stryper because he preferred pink versus yellow and black.
Mark left out that little tidbit of information. Anyway, keep going.
And then John Cassano.
I think they auditioned him. I don't know if he was actually offered the job or not, but he had some involvement.
He had something to do with them, yes, but I think he was just too wild. They're Christians, so
bizarre. I wish there were some demos or something of that. That would be very interesting to hear.
I'm really not having a go at CeCe DeVille here, because he was a talented guy. But to play anything like Oz Fox or Michael Sweet would have nowhere near them talented.
He'd be in over his head for sure.
I'm not going to try and defend CeCe DeVille again. Otherwise, I'm going to come off as some sort of CeCe DeVille fanboy. So, whatever.
Yeah.
No.
Whatever.
No. Okay, that's.
Anything else in the comments, Lee?
Yeah, Jonathan's just backed me up because he's here to actually comment. Crimson Glory was a killer album, which it absolutely was. The only thing I'd say with it was like a lot of bands' first albums, the production wasn't great. It was very bassy, almost too bassy. And then with Transcendence, it was just an amazing album with excellent production throughout. So if anyone who's watching the channel hasn't heard Crimson Glory, just check out Transcendence. You won't be disappointed. Okay, apart from that, Brian's given us some details on when stuff's released. I think he's talking about the Journey one, actually. But the next one is Vinnie Vincent's Invasion, self-titled album. Myself and Mark Cloer. This came out on August the 2nd of 1986. So I'm a big fan of this album. But I'll let you go ahead, Mark, on this. Vinnie Vincent's Invasion's debut album. I'm going to get a beer out of the fridge.
Yeah. Well, I've mentioned before, I actually prefer the second album as a whole overall. But this album was Vinny's first venture post Kiss, and this was his big fuck you to Kiss. He had some of the most bizarre solos on this album that you've ever heard in your life. And honestly, I don't know that. I think he was kind of kept. Kiss kind of kept him under control when he was in the band. I don't think that style really would have
Suited
fit
him.
Kiss's music. Gene has said in the past that Vinny and Mark St. John, who came later, they were just too busy for Kiss. Not really what Kiss was about or what Kiss needed. But like I said, it's just some amazing guitar work on here. The singer was Robert Fleshman, who had a very brief stint in Journey prior to Steve Terry.
Amazing vocalist.
Yeah, he and Mark Slaughter, who was on the second album, they had very similar voices. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. Okay, which one is that? But yeah, very, very busy album overall.
Over the top and all, wasn't it?
Over the top is a good description. You want to talk about? You're talking about Poison, the way they looked. I mean, my God, Vinny, he looked like he was. I don't even know what to describe him. He looked like a drag queen for one thing.
Vinny didn't have a great 80s, did he? Because his Kiss makeup was shite.
Yeah.
All right, listen, I just can't get over that. I just love when you first saw, I know we're going off the subject a bit, but Lick It Up. When they first got the makeup, when you saw their feet in the video, you saw their feet, didn't you? Then the camera went up, and Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that all
More
about?
terrifying than his makeup.
In their video, when they did the Lick It Up video, they're like,
absolutely brilliant, but embarrassing.
It's just it's not the original band, is it? If it was the original band doing it, it would make sense. But doing it when it's new members, it's just cheap.
Yeah.
I think Eric Cloer was still with them at the time. I know he passed away, but I mean, I think that was one of the last times that he was with those guys.
Well, then
he was on the next album as well, Eric Carr. He was on the Too Hot in the Shade. He was on that album, wasn't he?
No, the next album.
I don't know.
He was on several after Lick It Up.
Yeah. But
Asylum, and Animalize. He was on.
You got to remember, Vinny actually wasn't.
Nights.
Vinny wasn't actually a new member either, was he? Because he was on the fucking album before it, but he wasn't on the cover.
Right.
So, what the fuck?
I think what I meant was it's not the original four members revealing the makeup, is what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. True.
Mark, we've discussed this before. I loved Vinnie Vincent's work on Creatures of the Night. I loved his work on that. Just great.
Great album.
I was a big Love Kills person. Sorry.
Off of the Vinnie Vincent. Yeah.
Jam, Rock and Roll Hell. What a song. I know we're off topic, but what a song.
Yeah. The whole album is brilliant.
Yeah. Lee, where are we on the comments?
So we got X Metal's got a head out now. He's John Cassandro. I don't know if you've chosen this one, Mark, but it didn't make it to the final list. I hope Hurricane comes in the conversation. Hurricane?
Yeah.
So that was a you mentioned them, didn't you? But no one else voted from.
I think it was Scorpions when I think of Hurricane.
You can hope, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so next album, Darren, we're definitely going to go to you on this, mate. Yeah. Because you've only spoken to this. You've only spoken to this about this a couple of times, didn't you?
I think me and you done a whole fucking video on this, actually, didn't we?
Yes. FM Indiscreet, out on 8th of September. Go on, mate.
FM Indiscreet, yeah. We done a whole video on this. Like, what more do you want me to say? We won't chew up too much time on FM. I think half the bandwidth of YouTube is chewed up with me and you talking about FM. But just, rattle off a few of the songs. That Girl, Other Side of Midnight, Hot Wired, and the ballad Frozen Heart, which I love. And the one that we disagree on, Lee, American Girls. Or as you call it, American Ghouls.
Cool.
How you say it?
Girls.
Girls.
Gibbles?
Gills, yeah.
Gibbles?
You're only supposed
What's
to
a
go and cut
gibble?
a bloody doors off, yeah.
What, you think I'm fucking... You sound like Jason Statham or
No.
something. American.
I just want to know what a gibble is.
What the fucking-
How do you say, Lee? Give
American girls. American girls.
Right, okay, right. Look, Lee, we'll double team this a little bit. Said it a million times. FM just did not get the breaks that they deserved. This was their debut album. They were mired in issues between here and the States and who owned the name and what record label was going to take them over. And in all the bureaucracy that goes around, as we all know, the record industry is mired with people in suits, not people in skinny jeans. It's people in suits. That's who really runs the record industry. They got caught up in all of that politics and never really got the breaks that they deserved. They were on the with this album. They were on the when Bon Jovi were going big with Slippery When Wet. They were on that tour, so they did have the opportunities to kind of climb the ladder a little bit. They were told that with the catalog of songs in this album, they were going to be big. Again, the suits, they're going to be big, but it never quite happened for them, despite the fact that they had the talent, the songwriting, the sonics, and the singer.
Yeah,
Very
great
true.
band. Great
Very
band.
true.
They're a great band now as well, and putting out great music, but not for everyone, because they were probably on the AOR side, more the softer side of rock and metal. So not everyone watching this will like FM. They're one of the few bands, and you know what? There's a lot of AOR or the softer side of rock that I don't like, but FM are definitely one of them that I do, along with Journey, and they're a great band, man.
I'll say one thing about them though, and Jam would probably rattle off about 50 bands that have this, but or all of you would. But it's they have this thing where they never made it big, but they have a hardcore fan base that if they play it as Shed to 1,000 people anywhere in England, Spain, across Europe, they'll fill that shed. So sometimes you'd rather a hardcore fan base than a billion people that know you but would never come to see you. So they have that hardcore fan base. And
that is true.
That's the same thing about all this shitey pop music we've endured for the last 40 years. No, maybe not 30 years or whatever. They'll be big for they're like a shining star for a year and then they go nowhere. Whereas rock bands, if they get a hardcore following, can survive. Might be millionaires, but they'll survive because people will listen to them. And they're decent music, people will go. And that is
got a few people.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. Got a few people chiming in on the comments. John 78, FM Indiscreet, the best period. I actually agree with you there. I think it's the best album, although they've produced some brilliant music after it as well. Delana says FM are brilliant. They definitely deserved so much more. Absolutely amazing band. So there you go. Very cool band. We're getting on to the number 3 votes now, guys. So these are the albums that got 3 votes from everyone. The first one, going into a bit of fresh, Megadeth and Peace Sells. So released September the 19th. Jam, Gina and Jonathan. Well, Jonathan ain't here, but Jam can start us off and Gina can chime in with this. Look at that.
Nice.
There's the cassette.
One of the best albums covers.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Love it.
Brilliant. I mean, it's not thrash metal as you know it today. It's obviously quite mellow thrash metal. This one it was invented, don't forget, in 1986. So it's very, very, it's a bit faster than the normal metal. Dave Mustaine, Randy Burns. This is a classic lineup of Dave and Chris Poland and Dave Ellis. So we won't talk about him today. But it's a really good album. It's probably not my favourite Megadeth album, but it's got some great songs on it. As I said earlier, I listened to a few tracks before we come on. I put a Good Morning Black Friday, which is like a slightly slower song to start with, the Good Morning bit. It kicks into Black Friday. It's brilliant. And I just remember seeing these on, it was on I've mentioned this loads of times, so I'll skip over it, but seeing them at Donington in 88, I think it was. So it was a couple of years old, but they played Peace Sells. And then all the fists pumping in Donington. 80,000, probably 100,000 actually in 88, because that was a tragic year in 88. Probably 100,000 fists pumping. Absolutely brilliant.
It's beautiful.
They know how to rock it. They know how to rock a crowd. I mean,
stand up when that song comes on. And this album is really good. It's not my favourite Megadeth album, but it's certainly it's definitely top 2. I talked about it on my last all killer thing about '88, and the album after which was better. This is definitely in the top 2 albums of Megadeth. Probably Rest in Peace going on top 3, but yeah, it's a great album.
Well, Dave Mustaine to me is literally a genius. He's
Great guitarist.
musical.
Some of the guitaring is brilliant. Yeah.
But he's so smart as well. I mean, he knows. I mean, he's great and talented and stuff like that. But I mean, he's beyond musical. He's very wise as well.
Good new album coming out as well. New album coming out as well, guys. Hopefully this year.
The slight problem with Dave Mustaine is his vocals are never going to be. I mean, James Hetfield's not the greatest vocalist, but his vocals are to acquired taste. Let's say that. And but the music doesn't have as many choruses as that. But his musicianship is actually second to none. He's fantastic. And the trouble was, it's obviously come up against a very good album. Let's say in this year, so it's always going to be rated against that, isn't it? But
it is an acquired taste, though. It really is.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Totally right there. But I mean, I never got on with his voice when I was younger. It put me off a little bit, but later on, I didn't mind some of the songs. I don't like the punky side of Megadeth. They're quite punky sometimes, but that's just me. I don't like that side.
But Megadeth are back now. Anybody who's only listened to them in the band, listen to Dystopia, the last album they did. It was absolutely awesome. From I think it's 2016, 17, 18, something like that. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Jam, two things for you. Can we just have one more look at that sleeve cover? You know me, I love.
You can get it closer.
Sleeve covers. Yeah, it's great.
Look at that.
It's one of the best
awesome.
albums. Well, it's definitely the best Megadeth cover.
Cool.
It's gorgeous. I love it.
And one other thing for you, Jam. Slightly off topic. Give us 30 seconds of it. How was the gig? You were at a live gig last weekend, weren't you? You were at a festival. Yeah. Feed us. Give it to us. What's it like? We haven't been anywhere in 2 years. What was it like?
It was. We went in the first day. It rained a bit, but we went into the city and we made sure we got in there for the first band. Download rained, but we got in for the first band. It was in a tent. Never heard of them, but I thought I'm going to go to the first band of Download. First live gig since March 2020, I guess. 2020. Yeah, and
probably even before that.
Yeah, probably even. And they played bloody Venga Boys. Unbelievable. And everyone in the whole place was going. It was unbelievable. Fucking metalheads going. Music. And the band come on, and I don't care how shit up. I don't remember anything about it. It was absolutely amazing.
I saw your pictures on Facebook. It looked great.
Yeah. It was only 10,000. Anyway, it was brilliant. Yeah.
Sorry, Lee. I just wanted to get a little, because I'm a big, like yous, I'm sure, and the people watching and commenting and stuff. I'm a big gig and festival person, and not to be able to go to any of them in so long, just to get a little flavour of Jam's experience is nice.
Oh yeah. I mean, Delane has also said, "Oh my God, concerts are back." Fucking right.
Delane has been going to concerts. She's flying all over the States going to concerts right now.
Yeah.
Not here. We used to fill up the Civic Center over here in Pensacola with everybody, literally everybody, and hockey took over.
Oh yeah, there you go. Sports.
I might ask Delina there. Actually, I'll say it to Delina. Just throw it into the comments there. All the gigs you've been to over the summer and make us all jealous. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, I'll wait for her to answer back. So. Mark's got to talk about this one first. We got Black Sabbath. Yeah, we got Black Sabbath with the next one.
Oh yeah.
Myself, Gina, and Mark Cloer obviously voted for Sabbath. 7th star, 28th of January. Oh yes.
Yeah, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Y'all take that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mark's got this one. Go on, Mark.
I could literally talk a day about this one. So I'm going to try to keep it brief. 12th Sabbath studio album. It catches a lot of flack because it was originally intended to be a Tony Iommi solo album. By this point, he was the only original member left in the band, and he was trying to get away from the traditional Sabbath stuff and do his own thing. His original plan was to have multiple singers, much like he did on his later 2000, I think it was, solo album. His original idea was to bring back Dio. He wanted to have Rob Halford. He wanted to have Robert Plant. Glenn Hughes. He wanted to have David Coverdale. That was his original plan, but for contractual reasons, they couldn't make it happen. So it ended up being Glenn Hughes doing the entire album. But prior to Glenn Hughes, they briefly played with Jeff Fenholt, who Lee knows from Joshua.
Yeah.
From Black Sabbath.
Yeah, he later became a TV evangelist, and for years people doubted his word that he had any involvement with Black Sabbath. Well, several years ago, quite a few years ago now, the demos finally surfaced. And of course, this is a bootleg, but the demos were put out on a bootleg. The album was originally going to be called Star of India. The song Star of India is what became the song Seventh Star. And if you listen to Fenholt's version, it's very similar, totally different lyrics, but he could have done quite well with Sabbath. He had the voice for it. But anyway, that fell apart. He went on his way. They brought in Glenn Hughes, who did the entire album. And this album contains my favorite song of all time. Not just Sabbath song, just my favorite song in the history of the world. And
have you studied music literature at all? Have you ever? No. You just know it.
Just know it.
I know it's shocking that Tony Martin doesn't sing my favorite song of all time. But the song Angry Heart / In Memory, they call it two different songs, but to me it's one song. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
That is the most amazing song I have ever heard in my life.
It is great. It's great.
To this day, it gives me chills. Just the transition between Angry Heart and then that mellow part that becomes In Memory is just genius.
Yeah.
I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah, if you haven't heard it. Glenn Hughes, on a lot of his projects, if not most of his projects, he sings with a very bluesy R&B type. He's also been known as the White Stevie Wonder. But on this album, he keeps all that to a minimum. He sings in his full rock voice. I think this is the best thing he's ever sang on. Just an incredible album. That doesn't get the.
It's an amazing album, and it's really at the bottom, near enough the bottom of everyone's list when they put a Sabbath list out, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's a brilliant, brilliant album.
And I'm up for whatever band. I mean, just have to hear it.
It's fucked up, people.
It's probably just because it's not got the same sound as a normal Sabbath album, has it? And it's got great guitar and all that.
It's a whole new band. I mean, it was Tony Iommi and Jeff Nichols, who came in around the Heaven and Hell time, were the only original members, and then of course had Eric Singer on drums, Dave Spitz on bass, Glenn Hughes on vocals. So it was a whole new band.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of contention that Tony shouldn't have been using the Sabbath name at this point, but he owned the name, and he was the only one that carried on when the others left. The record company is evidently the one that decided to call it a Black Sabbath album. They thought it would sell better as a Sabbath album than an Iommi solo. But whatever you want to call it, it's an amazing album.
The Eternal Idol and Headless Children has only got him on it as well.
Right.
So it's weird. Yeah, obviously they carried on. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it's, at the time they obviously did it, but they carried on, didn't they? And then obviously Geezer come back for TYR, didn't he? And for Forbidden and what's the other one?
Well, Geezer didn't come back until Dehumanizer.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but he was on the TYR tour, wasn't he?
He played on Cross Purposes also.
It's just amazing songs on that album, and you just can't. There must be another. Why Sabbath fans don't like it? It's just mad. It does sound a little bit different than Sabbath. It does. Yeah, it does. But from start to finish, I think it's one of their best albums. But that's just.
How many original members of ACDC?
I've honestly never heard it. I picked it because it was one of the best. I know what I like as far as 86. And there are some bands like the one you guys just mentioned, Black Sabbath. I mean, the original cast to me is just awesome. You know, Ronnie, Ozzy, just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to listen to something new. So
you're
I'm
love that.
open.
I think everyone
I'm
would
very
love that.
open for it. Sure.
Everyone would love that album. Honestly, I think it's brilliant if you give it a chance.
Yes.
I got right. Delina said she's got back to your list, Darren. Styx, Vixen, Warren, Autograph, Styx again next weekend, and Collective Soul. She's going to see. There you go. There you go.
That sounds like my wet dream.
Darren, Darren, is it all open up in Ireland then? You're all open?
I
No,
saw
this is what-
Styx and Kansas.
No,
Have you seen them both?
Both. And they rock.
I wonder if, Gina, you've been to the same gig as Delina then.
It was here. Well, it was here in Pensacola.
Oh, so it wasn't the same. But where did Delina live? Do you know?
Down the south. She'd kill me now. I don't know.
Down the south.
Yeah.
I saw them at the Civic Center several years ago. Styx and Kansas, and dude, they sounded exactly the same in concert, if not better, than they do in their recordings.
So
yeah,
Delina's
a big Styx fan. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Right. Okay, guys. Are you ready for the 4 voters? We're going on to the 4 voters now. I'm going to talk about this one because it's the best. Because I think it's. I actually think I was thinking about this. I think this is the best debut album that's ever been brought out.
Oh,
ever.
Better than Maiden.
Yes, definitely better than Maiden's debut album. So, Tesla, Mechanical Resonance. There you go. Look at that. I think it's the best debut album ever that's ever been brought out. And I was thinking about this earlier on. What other great debut albums have there been? There's been Van Halen, which is amazing.
Maiden.
When talking about amazing Maiden's albums, very, very good. But I think Tesla's a perfect album. I just think from 10 out of 10.
Pearl Jam 10.
Still a good album, but Tesla, I think is just Mechanical Resonance is just amazing from start to finish.
Lee,
the songwriting. Yes.
Did you know that the singer of Tesla, his original job, he was a garbage man?
Yeah. And he's practicing. He just used to sing all the time on his truck, apparently.
And
there
he
you
just,
go.
Boosh!
Yeah, and then he got signed somehow, and then he's got an amazing voice. I saw him a few years ago, and they were amazing. But we're 4 of us voted for this. So myself, Jonathan, Mark, and Jam as well. So a really popular album. And Darren also heard Changes as well when we recommended it to him, and he loved that song. So they're an amazing band now. But Mechanical Resonance, they've never quite topped it, but they came close a couple of times, but never quite topped it for me. But I actually think it's the best debut album that's ever been recorded. That's my opinion, of course. But there you go. Okay, Gina, you're up because Striper. You can talk about Striper now. To hell with the devil. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Sorry, Gina. Yeah, Jan, do you want to say something about Tesla? Sorry.
Well, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Calm down, Gina. Calm down.
That was my fault.
I know. I want to
Go ahead.
Go on, Jan.
I was going to say 4 people voted and nobody.
Sorry.
That's all.
My fault. Apologies. Yeah. Go on. What do you think about this?
Well, no, I mean, I love Tesla. I mean, I don't think it's the best album, personally. But, I mean, I think Great Radio Controversy is better, personally. But it is a good album. But you don't mention some of the songs. Coming At You Live, Monday Cowboy. You know, Little Susie, it's a cover version, but it's a great song. I mean,
Yes.
There's a bit more love, that's what I'm saying. You skipped over it like you're embarrassed about it. It's definitely worth talking about.
I like that song.
No, I've been thinking since we've been thinking about doing 86, which is an amazing year. And I was trying to think of myself of a debut album that I like better from a band. and I just couldn't think of one. But I think we spoke about this as well, didn't we, Jam? That so you're a certain age, music comes out at a certain time, and you're just hooked on it, and it just means so much to you. And I think this album, I was 16. Yeah. What a perfect age to be when you're into music. Do you know what I mean? It's just amazing. You've seen this band, you've seen them live, haven't you, Mark?
Yeah, they opened for Leopard on the Hysteria tour. They were touring for Mechanical Resonance, and that was in '87. I actually saw them twice. I saw them here in Columbia, and then I saw them in Charlotte, North Carolina. But they were a very hard act for Def Leppard to follow. Yeah. I mean, they just tore it up. They were
really
top of their game. You felt like you had already been to the show, when Tesla left the stage, and then, of course, Leopard came on. They did not disappoint, but a lot of times, the opening actor, you're hoping, okay, hurry it up and get the hell off stage so the main band can come on. But while Tesla was there, you felt like you were at the show. They were hungry. They were just. Jam mentioned Modern Day Cowboy. That's my favorite Tesla song. And to this day, I get chills every time I hear that song. I mean, it just does not get old even after all these years.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on a second. Sorry, Lee. Like, I just want to chime in here. I love how Mark just nonchalantly just throws out. I saw them with Leopard on the Hysteria tour. You saw them with Leopard on the Hysteria tour. Do you know what I'd give to see the Hysteria tour in real time? It was nonchalantly just throw it out.
That was that tour when they were in the round.
I saw them with Leopard on the Hysteria tour, Lee. I saw them with
I know. I'll tell you what I was thinking about as well. We're speaking about Poison earlier on. Don't mean to bring Poison back into the equation, but when the height of glam was there in '86 and Poison came they really blew up with glam, obviously. Tesla done the opposite and just chucked their fucking jeans and t-shirts on.
Yeah, that's right.
And said, we're just going to fucking rock out. And I think that's what impressed me at the time. Because I suppose for a few years we were getting this glam stuff. Then Tesla come along. They just looked like people in fucking England just walking around with their jeans and t-shirts on. And long hair.
We talked about, it's funny because we talked about Guns N' Roses last time. They came out in street clothes, but Tesla did it before Guns N' Roses. Yeah. They just totally stayed away from that whole glam thing and just, came out in their street clothes and just tore it up.
Well, that's like GNR when they first came out. They didn't really do the makeup thing, but when they first came out, they did do somewhat of the glam because they had the old hair. Yes. Yeah. And then they went from that to wearing the street clothes, just having the hair down, just being the rockers and not being the glam.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. That was a big transition right there. That I will have to say, and I know it's off topic, but yes, GNR did break the mold for that year, even though Hysteria did win.
Yeah. Lee, I the reason I said that with Mark saying that is because the year we're discussing, 1986. I always say it. My mother says it to me as well. I was born 20 years too late because in 1986 I was 4 years old. So, so when Mark says I was at the Hysteria tour, I'm thinking to myself, "Fuck, you were at the Hysteria tour." Like I would cut off my right arm for that.
We've got a lot of Tesla fans on here, by the way. Just to let you know, we've got a lot of people saying about Tesla, saying it's an amazing album. Jonathan Johnson, Tesla killed it with that record. Delana, I've seen Tesla several times in concert. They're amazing.
Of course, yeah.
There you go, Darren. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's gone already. It's gone. No, a brilliant band. Still going now. And big mates of Def Leppard. Even though they kick their ass on stage, they're still good mates. And there you go. Anyway.
It's awesome. It's all awesome anyway.
I think Leppard, I've said it a few times, Lee, Leppard are quite a good band to other bands. Like Leppard were quite good to Tesla in a way that Mott the Hoople were quite good to Leppard, who Joe Elliott looked up to a lot and stuff. So Leppard are absolute, particularly Joe Elliott, absolute gentlemen of the business. They really are.
Yeah. They are.
I've never seen them in concert.
Well,
I've walked by
Unfortunately.
Joe Elliott. He lives here in Ireland. I've walked by him a few times. Many times I just wanted to shake him and go, "You don't know what you mean to me," and I just walk by him.
Nah, they are a great band, and you're right there, Darren. I mean, Tesla they've been like that since day one, actually. Def Leppard and Tesla.
Very
cool.
talented.
Yeah.
Very.
Okay. Sorry about that, Jan, by the way. I went off a bit there, didn't I? You know what it is, don't you? Because I'm not used to this.
No, mate, I was finished. It's fine. I finished talking. I just want to say that I'm similar to Darren. I'm in between you two guys, Mark and you, Lee, and Darren's obviously younger than me. I'm in between, so I couldn't quite go to see Hysteria, but I went to the fucking Adrenalize tour, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, so I've sort of missed out on Hysteria, although I loved it, but I was 14 or something. And, you know, so I'm in between, but, you know, you can't help when you're born, can you?
No, that's it, mate.
No,
that's why 88's a bigger year for me, because I was 14, 15, getting into buying my own and going to gigs, you know. So.
Exactly.
Can't help when you're born, but you can like what you like.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think a lot of people were probably waiting for this one, and when I
Not
posted...
me. I'm not.
No, you ain't, but everyone else. So
I guarantee you, Red Devils who's in the chat, he's going to love this one.
So when I posted this on Facebook and YouTube and all that, Michael Sweet commented and put "To Hell with the Devil," and all of a sudden I had like 20,000 people looking at the video. So yeah, "To Hell with the Devil's next, Striper. So a massive album, Striper.
Oh, I'm out. Sorry, yeah. Right.
Yeah,
sorry.
Right. Darren, do you want to go for a beer?
Go get a beer.
I'll meet you around the corner. Let's go.
Okay,
Right, let's go.
Yeah.
I can
So
tell
Striper,
you everything about Striper. Go ahead, babe.
they smashed it on this one, obviously.
Yes.
It was their big breakthrough album.
Yes.
Upset a lot of people as well. This album in the church.
Yeah.
But obviously sold millions, and you know it's the most well-known album to this day. So Gina, you voted for this one. You love a bit of Striper, didn't you?
Are you kidding me? Striper's my favorite. There you go. But Striper.
Yeah.
Striper.
And the cassette. Mark's got the cassette.
I've got the CD and I've got the original cassette.
Oh,
There you
well,
go.
The Angel cover.
I had in the beginning as well the VHS.
Yeah.
But this is the original cassette.
Nice. Now this was huge, a huge album, and even though a lot of people were against this band, if you like, in the metal community, they got the most votes. That was right. They're the only band to get the most votes on MTV, I think. For there was a phone-in on the videos in them days, and they got the #1 spot with 2 songs at the same time, I believe.
Honestly and Free.
Honestly and Free. There you
Yep.
go.
And Calling on You was second. They pretty much destroyed mainstream when they came out with this album because they're a Christian band. So when they came out with this album, it was just like, bam, wow, we have this Christian heavy metal band that just broke mainstream music that has literally went platinum. Boom. And not only that, the matter is that they are original people. They write their own music. And they're very, very particular about the way that they're, like, for example, like Robert Sweet, very, very particular about the way his drum sounds. If he needs to tweak it, yes, if he needs to tweak something, he will do it. Michael is the same way. And I don't blame Michael. I mean, Michael probably has one of the best voices that you can even, I can't, see.
I mean, even people say, though, I mean, even Michael Sweet says himself that his voice is like, a lot of people don't like his voice. You know, they don't like the tone of his voice. I love his voice. I think he's got an excellent voice.
Absolutely. You know, I watched a video of him back in, I want to say, the early 90s. And he expressed that he got his high pitch because he would literally get to where he would scream so loud and high that his voice would almost start bleeding. Michael Sweet.
He does some real high singing. I mean, it was the thing at that time as well, the high pitched singing. But I mean, we got Jonathan Johnson saying here about, because Jonathan's in a Christian metal band, obviously, Deny the Fall, and he said Striper Tell the Devil completely broke the mold for Christian metal. For the first time ever, a Christian metal band proved they could be the biggest rock band on the scene. And at that time, yeah, that was a huge album, To Hell with the Devil. And you know what? It's a lot of people's favourite album from them. Still, but if you actually think about the music they're bringing out now,
it's awesome.
It's probably better. It's probably better than that. Which you can't say a lot about bands.
Blood from Above.
Oh yeah, Blood from Above. You know, that's an amazing song. They wouldn't have written that in '86, but
Divider.
An amazing album. And that,
Blood from Above. Blood from Above. If I am dead serious. If somebody does not recognize the song,
it's true.
I feel
it's
bad.
True metal.
It is true metal. It is. Every time I hear it, I'm just like,
yeah, they are. I think Gina likes Striper. Right, Mark. We've said quite a bit about Striper, haven't we? But you got anything to say on To Hell with the Devil?
It's just one of the albums that made up the soundtrack of my late teen years. I saw them twice on that To Hell with the Devil tour, and I can vividly remember standing there in the dark, hearing The Abyss, that intro to To Hell with the Devil, and just the chills just covering me, and knowing what's coming, and when the curtain drops and they just tear into To Hell with the Devil. I mean, it just, to this day, that's one of the best concert experiences of my life. I mentioned on Leeds when we ranked our Striper songs, To Hell with the Devil used to be my number one Striper song, and it's still very close, but it's been bumped down very slightly to number 3 over the years by 2 of the newer songs. But to this day, every time I hear the title track, it just blows my mind. And anybody who thinks that, you know, a lot of people hear some of the lighter stuff that Striper's done over the years, and they don't realize how heavy Striper is or can be. They need to listen to To Hell with the Devil.
Exactly, because Striper could be a variety of any type of music.
Yeah.
I mean,
very versatile.
Very versatile.
And you know what? For us in England as well, it was probably quite to get into a Christian metal band, and I wasn't into, obviously lyrically, it wasn't for me at all. I'm not a Christian. I never will be. People try to tell me I can be, but I'm not.
Neither am I.
But in England especially, it's probably frowned upon to like Striper a little bit. I fucking love them, man, just because of their musical ability is just amazing. Just one of the best bands, especially now as well. I mean, the music now is amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Lee, that's what's quite cool about your channel, is that you were able to kind of embrace that and go, even as a guy who's not a Christian, you were able to embrace Striper and go,
oh yeah,
I like it. I like it because it's good, right? And I like it because it's great. And then you really embraced that early on in the channel. I was going to ask Gina, is that how you found Lee's channel, like through Striper, or like did you? Yeah,
I actually was surfing YouTube one day, and I came across Lee's channel, and he was doing his first reaction to Blood from Above.
Yeah, me too.
And when I heard it, I almost passed out.
I think she likes Striper.
Yeah.
And well, Lee, you know, I'm not a Christian either. I mean,
okay, cool.
But I commend Striper because I was probably 6 or 7 when I first heard of Striper. And just the first song that I ever heard from them, just automatically, I was like mesmerized.
They've got
Just
a certain sound.
mesmerized.
They've definitely got a certain sound that pulls you for sure.
But Lee,
Yeah.
you know what? There's a couple of things here then. So, you know, as I said, it's cool about your channel. You're ready to embrace it, not being a Christian, and kind of just embrace the music for what it was. But also, I think, to be fair, it shows the character of the guy, of Michael Sweet, because he's been quite good to you as well. I mean, like, he's been sound to you, like a really good guy, you know. On top of that as well, I will say, my friend Dummy, I don't know if she's in the chat or if she's commented at all at anything. She said when Michael was on the time before last, that I'm going to quote Dummy here, he still looks hot.
Yeah.
I agree. I think
he's
hot. My 82-year-old mother thinks he's hot.
Okay.
Dummy said he's getting hotter with age. So there you go.
I have had a crush. I'm sorry. I've had a crush on Michael Sweet ever since I was little. Sorry. But yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Good looking guy. Still looks good.
Yeah, he's good looking fella.
We've got a few comments. We've got a few comments about Striper. Let's get to the comments about Striper because there's quite a few people commenting about Striper. So
then we can move on.
Jonathan Johnson Striper was hated by many but respected by most. Production-wise, To Hell with the Devil was huge and the tones were super heavy but incredibly polished. Best guitar sounds of the era. Yep. Paul Anderson, 17 live Striper shows and can't wait for number 18. Wow. Delina, Striper was banned in my school. Loves them though. Delina loves Striper. Dommy, nice one, Darren. There you go.
I didn't know she was in or not, right? I'm just calling her out. All right.
And who's Jilly Willy? Who knows Jilly Willy?
Well, unless they identify themselves, I don't know.
Nice kitchen, Lee's mum. Thanks.
Lee, can I ask one last? Lee, can I ask? Is there any more comments? Anyone else there?
No, I think I've been keeping up with it, so that's about it.
Okay.
Mate. But no, it's good. Really, loads of comments tonight.
One quick question I have is that with Jam, obviously Lee got onto Striper and Mark's Christian, as we know, but Lee got onto Striper because he liked the music. I'm surprised that you never really got into them. I would have thought perhaps it might be your thing. It's clearly not.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I mean
it's metal.
Just because they have a really hard sound.
No.
Well, Jam would be into that. That's when it wasn't your thing.
Let me tell you now, though. Jam is his interest in metal is a lot different than a lot of mine. Jam is into a lot, I'd say, because Jam, you're quite surprised by some of the metal I like, and I'm surprised by some of the stuff you like. We're quite different, and you like a lot of the homegrown bands, especially English bands, I'd say. The punky sort of bands as well. You're into that sort of like you said, left field sort of bands. So there's so much that me and Jam differ so much in music in general. But
that's
still
what makes
love
it
metal.
fantastic, though.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't think of anything worse than a religious band. Personally, I mean, I'm not to take this, but anything that mentions religion, we're not. No, I think it's a cultural thing because in England, I mean, obviously Ireland has a lot of religious stuff. I'm not saying Darren is into religion, but a lot of religion in Ireland. In England, though, we're pretty much anti-religion over here.
It's true.
Very few people go to church. Whereas America, you swear on the Bible and all that rubbish. We don't do all that. Sorry, I didn't mean to say rubbish, but you know what I mean.
Not everybody. No.
Well,
I mean,
but that's what I thought Striper kind of done. Did Striper not kind of transcend that?
No, not for me. It's not my sort of music. I prefer heaviest. I went from very, very metal to very, very thrash straight away. I was pretty into heavy metal, really heavy.
Perhaps it helps with me, Darren. You know, you saying that you mentioned lyrics quite a bit, don't you? When we talk about music, you actually quote lyrics a lot. I don't hardly do that. Do I?
No.
So probably for me, when I'm listening to music, that's why Striper grabbed me more than anything, because it's musically. The lyrics for me just pass
The
me by.
sound.
They pass. It's the sound. It's the sound of the band. I love the sound of the band.
Well,
you know, and they're screaming at the top of their voice, Jesus and all that. But I'm not. That doesn't, because the music's so good. It just goes like that.
But for
you
me,
do a lot of that in your reaction videos, don't you, Lee? Where it's kind of you're getting into it and you're listening to it sonically. Whereas on some of my videos, I almost ignore the music and just go lyrics only and talk about the lyrics only.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I'm really surprised Lee is into Striper because obviously he's a couple of years older than me. No, I'm not banging on about it. What I'm saying is, for my set when I grew up, people listening to religious music would have been fucking laughed at, and that's no offense.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right, mate.
Fair play to him. I'll big him up for that. But just for me, it was just not happening. Listen to Striper, you get fucking piss ripped out of you.
I think a lot of people were Striper fans in England, but didn't say they were as well.
Maybe.
Silence. They were silent. And the thing is with Striper and like Lee, like you said, basically hearing them for the first time and hearing double guitar and hearing this man just, you know, and whatever. And then they've got on these.
You're not sounding it to me. You're not sounding it to me.
They've got on these yellow and black outfits, and Robert's rocking 21 drums and 21 cymbals and blah blah blah, and it's amazing. And then you get to like them, and then you start to learn about them, and Christian or not Christian.
We're not converting Jam. We're not converting Jam.
No, baby. No.
I'm sorry, it's just very un-English. It's not English. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, Lee,
I still love Anthrax.
No, it's not. It's nothing. I'm not going to go. I'm just saying it's just not. It wasn't English.
I know. I know. I'm kidding. I'm a big joker.
It's probably really hard for. It was probably really hard for Striper to reach any English fans.
Very hard.
And the ones that they did.
Japan.
Japan was massive. Obviously. Let me. Well, listen. There's a few comments here. So, Jilly Willy, I apologise because. Well, I obviously know her as Jill. She's my next door neighbour. So hello, Jill. All right, how you doing? Paul Anderson wants to know what kind of beer we're drinking. So Darren's got IPA. I've got Budweiser. Gina's got some of this.
Bud Light, Chelada.
Chelada, yeah. What's Jam got? What's Jam got there?
Mr.
He's got a mixed drink.
He's got a mixed drink. Oh, right, cool. Okay,
no, but you had wine too the other night. So
I had wine the other night. I've got Smirnoff now.
Yeah.
We've got Jonathan Johnson. I'm obviously a Christian, but I'm not a super religious person. Interesting. Religion isn't true Christianity. I love that we can all be mates and still have love and support for each other. Lee is my dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Jonathan.
Fair play. I'm not just religion. It's just not for me. Not listening.
Yeah, listen,
it doesn't matter.
Religion for me, I'm the same on religion. Brian is a Christian as well. I saw that, Jonathan, I saw that example from my bros in Striper. I've always followed that example. Well, they've always followed an example. Yeah, definitely. Music is music and it spreads a positive message. Then it's cool. That's it. We're up to date on the comments. So, right, should we move on? Should we move on?
Let me just jump in here at the last minute. I am a Christian, but I'm not necessarily one that walks the straight and narrow. I got into Striper because I love the music. Mm-hmm. They could have been singing about Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck for all I cared. Just the musicianship and the sound of their music just blew me away, and to this day it just continues to blow me away.
Mark, I feel the same. Trust me.
I've got a buddy up in Pittsburgh. He and I are like this on Black Sabbath. I have tried my best to turn him into a Striper fan. I send him a copy of every Striper album that comes out, and without fail, every time he listens to it, he says they are incredible musicians, but I just can't get past the Christian lyrics. And he's not an atheist. He goes to church, a couple of times a year. He doesn't go to church every weekend like I do for the most part, but He just can't get past the Christian lyrics. He said musically, he said they are just incredible musicians. He said I can't relate to that type of
the message
lyric in metal. But my rebuttal to that is people talk about, well, Christianity's not a proper subject matter for heavy metal. I've said this before, it doesn't get any heavier than the crucifixion. I mean, if you want to talk about heavy subject matter, the crucifixion is pretty fucking heavy.
Yes, it is.
You know,
but you know what?
That's my rebuttal to that argument. But
it's honestly, it's really not about what religion you are. It's about the people that you care about, whether they are Christian or atheist or whatever, because they will always be unconditional. So to me, it really doesn't matter if you are a certain religion. If you have a specific relationship with God or whoever you believe in, that's great. I would never judge anyone for their beliefs as far as what they believe in. So to me, it's just a personal preference. And as long as you love everybody that you have fun with and get along with, I don't see a problem with it.
Agree with that, but having said all of that, agreed with you. Having said all that, Michael Sweet, whether you like his music or not, is still the coolest motherfucker in the world and the best guest you've ever had on this channel, right?
Oh yeah.
I agree with that. I'm not interested, but I thought he was fucking cool as fuck.
Yeah, there you go. It's cool as fuck. Michael Sweet, if you're watching this here.
He is a cool fucker, and
he doesn't care.
We all aspire to. He sits in his car just with the phone on his face, and he looks cooler than any one of us will be ever. Yeah. Right? There you go.
Don't make me blush.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Listen, guys. We're going to move on. We're moving on to the number 5. We're moving on to 5 votes now. Now, this is huge. This was a huge album.
Shit.
Who's leading on this?
I'm going to get Darren to lead on this.
Well, does Darren want to do this one or the next one? I'd say, because he might want the next one.
What should we give Darren a choice?
No, I'm going to take this one.
Okay, cool.
If that's okay. Yeah, I'll take.
So we look August the 18th. Bon Jovi. Slippery When Wet. What an important album, though. What an important album. Go on in, mate.
Yeah, I'm just going to pour a bit. Oh, beautiful. You know what I'm like with this stuff.
Wait, listen.
My porn.
Wait, the band album cover was a lot better. The band album cover was a lot better.
Yeah.
No.
This is the original. Well,
no, the band one. The band one was the better one, mate.
Yeah, the band one. Yeah.
He would. Damn, dude.
I'll kick off while I'm pouring a beer. It's Bon Jovi's 3rd record, and Mark, myself, and yourself have talked a little bit even offline about some of the Bon Jovi early stuff, you know, but Runaway and them kind of songs. But this is their 3rd album, and you know what I find special about this is that it's 8 weeks at number 1. Tell me now when any band, Jam, you were talking about pop artists and stuff. Tell me now when anybody would spend 8 weeks at number 1 on top of the US Billboard chart.
Crazy.
You know, it wouldn't happen ever now, whether you're rock, rap, pop, certainly not rock actually, but whether you're pop music, whatever, you ain't spending 8 weeks on top of the US Billboard chart with an album anymore. That doesn't happen.
Never mind.
It's in, it's out, it's kind of thing. And remember, this is a time when you're selling physical records. You're spending 8 weeks on top of the Billboard chart selling records, physical copies. Just take that in. That's astonishing, to be fair. However, having said all that, this is nearly the beginning of the end, isn't it? Because you've got so many big hits here. You Give Love a Bad Name, Wanted Dead or Alive, and Sweet Jesus, Living on a Prayer.
No, don't say it. Don't even fucking say it.
And you know what? If I never hear that song
exactly.
Thank you.
I had a feeling you'd all react like that, right?
I voted for this, by the way.
But so did I. So did most of us. But take it in the context of when it was released,
Oh,
when
brilliant.
when it was fresh, when you're hearing "You Give Love a Bad Name," "Living on a Prayer," like terrible to listen to now. You wouldn't. I'd rather listen to nothing than listen to it. But
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
take it in the context of what it's in, guys. It would have been very fresh, very new, quite energetic for its time. It's only their third album. I don't think John Bon Jovi ever sounded better. To be fair, he was like at his pinnacle here in terms of vocally. He was looking good. He was sounding good. Richie Sambora. I mean, do we want to even get into that? Powerful stuff. Great duo up there with the Aerosmith duo, with Stones duo, with Lennon McCartney, whatever you want to be. Richie Sambora, John Bon Jovi. They were a duo for their time. It's a little bit of a shame of what happened in the last couple of years with them, and you know, there's clearly a falling out there, and they've gone the wrong way. However, at this point, we're pissed off at the music now, but as it was released, fuck me, it was good for the time.
Oh, quality.
Yeah, and another thing you've got to remember, another reason I nearly didn't vote for this, but you're totally right, Darren. You've got to remember the time.
Yeah.
Definitely. It was huge for me, this album. You've got to forget what they're doing now as well, what John Bon Jovi is doing, because if you don't, you can let it cloud your judgment of how fucking good this was.
Yeah.
Because you know, the music he's bringing out now is terrible. You've got to think, no, this is about 1986.
Horrible.
And this is a fucking brilliant album. And I don't listen to it anymore.
Get your heads in the moment of 86. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I totally agree.
I've got a thing I always say. I don't even know if it's fact now. I've said it so many times. I think it's fact. But in the UK charts, I swear to God, I might be wrong. I swear to God, there you go. I'm not religious, but I swear, I'm sure in the UK charts, 1 week, Europe, Final Countdown was number 1 in the charts in the UK. And number 2 was Living on a Prayer.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I put that on the list. Final Countdown.
I did too.
I think.
I did too. It's in my honorable mentions. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Well, I'm saying, we're talking about singles. I think that's what the rock was like in '86. It was a popular thing, and this album was
Europe, baby.
capture of that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it was big. It was a massive thing back then, obviously, mainly, but a lot because of MTV as well. Yeah. That was a big thing.
But the thing is that Europe, and don't get me wrong, they did blast ass with that song, but the majority of their songs were kind of just.
But getting back to Slippery When Wet, you're totally right, Darren. You're totally right. You got to remember what it was. It was huge for me. This album, absolutely huge, and that's why I voted for it, because of how big it was.
Did you buy it? Did you buy it at the time, Lee?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Raise your hands. Raise your hands. What song?
You killed me! You killed me! I was gonna say it. Sorry,
mate.
I listened to this album this week. I guarantee it's the first time I've listened to it from start to finish in probably 15 years.
Wow.
But I put it in as I was preparing for this. And other than the 3 big hits that, like we've all said, I really don't need to ever hear again, the rest of the material on this album is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I've seen Bon Jovi several times over the years. Last time I saw him, I think, was 2000. But even then, those songs were vastly overplayed. But I got to admit, when they played those songs live, even though I was sick of them, even 21 years ago, when they lit into Living on a Prayer, you know, I'm like, yeah!
Fuck yeah!
You know, even though you're sick of it, you know, they're still great freaking songs, you know?
Yes, they are. They are.
Mark, I said the same thing to you of when Aerosmith played and You Don't Want to Miss a Thing came on, everyone was going insane. But Jam, just on that, I did have that on my list because I knew we were going to talk about the big hits from this album. No, don't be silly. No, it's cool, man.
Then Pantera came along.
But track 6, Raise Your Hands, is a fist pumping rock anthem. Yes. So I would say to anyone watching or in the comments or whatever, or later on, listen to track 6. Jam correctly pulled it out there. Raise Your Hands is a stunning rock track, and one for the earphones for sure.
It
And
is.
watch all the Spaceballs as well when they play in Spaceballs.
Is it in Spaceballs? Is it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
When the Winnebago flies over, they play Barth is in the thingies. Yeah, he plays Raise Your Hands.
Is it in that? Oh, that's cool. All right, didn't know that. All right, cool.
Spaceballs, yeah.
That
movie's
rock
good.
songs from rock songs from the films. There you go.
Nah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you did. You did say that. You're right.
No, I didn't say it. No, I said you can do. You can add it to your list.
Or you gave me an option though. I forget it anyway. We'll talk about it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Raise Your Hands, Lee.
Yes.
Great track from that album.
Anyway, look, I'm actually happy that we're giving a bit of love to this album because I nearly didn't vote for it because of the way I feel about some of them songs that I've heard so many times. But then, no worries, mate. But then I thought, no, fuck it, because I loved that album at the time.
There you go.
For the most part, these days when I want to hear some Bon Jovi, I usually pull out the debut and I pull out 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit because those albums are not overplayed. But like I said, when I put this in the other day for the first time in probably 15 years, it reminded me how great an album it really was.
Yeah.
And, I was 17 when this album came out. And again, it was a huge part of my teen year soundtrack. I vividly remember I went to a predominantly black school, and even I had a couple of black friends that loved this album. It was kind of mind-boggling because you were expecting them to like the rap stuff that was so popular back then, but I remember a couple of my buddies that were like, "Yeah, man, I like that Bon Jovi stuff." It's just they kind of crossed the boundaries there.
I'll tell you what, Mark, that's a great shout for listening to the whole album again, coming up to this fucking year. Did you listen to every album? That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
I had a black friend that absolutely loved Megadeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Lee, one last. What was I going to say on it now? One last thing I was going to say on this is that we talked about the big hits from this album. Like we know them all, right? We don't even need to say them again. But there was one thing that I was going to say about Bon Jovi was I'm going to do a video on it. There's some songs I can listen to a billion times and I'll never get sick of them. And one of them from Bon Jovi is Runaway. No matter how many, I could never hear Living on a Prayer again, but I could listen to Runaway every day for the rest of my life. Because
I'm with you there.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go, Lee.
Cool. No worries, mate. Well, we got a bit of a link going to the next one because there's definitely a link to Bon Jovi because apparently Bon Jovi, I think they got this band a record deal, if I believe, and it's Cinderella and their debut album, Night Songs. I've got Jam gonna kick us off on this one. Look at that for a glam album cover. Look at that.
Yeah.
What can I never get right? There we go. No, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, it's a glam album cover, but the material inside betrays the cover for me.
Yeah.
Nobody's
They look so over the top. But for me, I literally, I've said this before. I report this album just on the font of the band. That's
Love
cool.
The lettering is awesome.
Fully agreed, Jam. Great call. Yep, absolutely.
But great album. It's nothing like anything that went on to be, but it's a pinnacle of glam metal. I'm not going to call it hair metal, as you know. I don't like that term, but it's brilliant. I mean, this is brilliant. It's got obviously Tom Kiefer, Jeff LaBar, Eric Britton. Apparently, though, Fred Corey, the drummer, didn't play on the album.
Right.
According to Wikipedia, so obviously it's fact.
He didn't play on the second one either.
Did he not? Oh, right.
No. Cozy Powell played on the second one.
Ah, that's good news. So he got all the credit all the time, and he didn't play in any of them.
Yep.
Mental.
Yeah,
I just remember
they had hired him, but they didn't think he had the chops at that point to play on the album. They took him on tour, but they didn't think he had the chops to play on the album, which is bizarre. Why didn't they hire somebody that they thought had the chops? But,
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I enjoyed the Nobody's full video. I mean, the girls coming out in the polka dots. Just,
it's a great album. I actually didn't
great
like
album.
it. That was my favourite album for me.
You did vote
That
for
was
it?
their best album.
Same.
Did you say
I voted for
really?
it. I voted for it.
Yeah. I mean, the songs on it, night songs, absolutely brilliant. Shake Me, Nobody's Full, nothing. I mean, we redid our 86 list, so I don't want to reiterate, but I mean, me and Dom picked
Push.
Somebody Save Me. I think we had.
Oh yeah, what a great song. Yeah, Somebody
brilliant.
Save Me.
Brilliant album all the way around.
Back Home Again was actually my favourite song on the album, which is the last track, which is unusual for a track, in them days. But I mean,
Jam, just before you put away, can you put the album sleeve just up to the camera again? Sorry, mate. It's not even to appreciate the cover itself. It's more, I feel as though that sleeve betrays what's actually inside it.
Definitely.
It looks like, I know you don't like the term, Jam, I don't like it either, but it betrays a glam metal band. But I think the material inside is deeper than that.
I think they were a little glam.
Sorry, I don't like glam metal. I don't like hair metal. Hair metal is a term I don't like.
Oh, sorry, hair metal. Sorry, I think the material inside it's more than that. I don't think what you were buying is literally what was inside. Okay, I had the sound of the time and stuff. We've already talked about Poison and whatever else, but it could almost be a Poison cover. But I think that the material inside is very different.
The musicianship is fantastic on that album, and obviously Tom Kiefer's voice is it's quite deep, isn't it? It's a very unique voice. You definitely know it's Tom Kiefer when he's singing. You know what I mean?
He wrote all the songs.
A lot like AC/DC.
Oh yeah.
The first time I ever heard him was when MTV started playing the Shake Me video, and I vividly remember hearing his voice and thinking, "Yeah, he sounds like Brian Johnson."
That raspy,
and then the song "Shake Me" I thought was a kind of a not a rip off, but kind of they took that from "You Shook Me All Night Long." To me, they were more AC/DC than they were Poison.
He was the brain. Tom was the brains behind that project, though, wasn't he? He was the songwriter. He was the vocalist. He was great. One song, I don't think you called it out there, Jam. I'd be interested what your thoughts are on it. I think it's the second last track on the album, Push Push. That was my call out from that record. I thought it was a pretty decent track.
I think everything on this album is good. I mean, it's difficult to say. You always have your outstanding ones, but I don't think there's a single track on here that I'd say is a filler. If this was an album, I wouldn't say 10 out of 10 as in the best albums in the world are 10 out of 10. I'd say it's a 9 out of 10, an 8 out of 10.
Delina says that her favourite is she said "In From the Outside" is one of her faves. That's a good track as well.
Yeah.
That's a great track. Yeah.
Somebody Save Me. Somebody Save Me. That's a great track.
Yeah. Jonathan Johnson says Cinderella was a timeless rock band in the same way Bon Jovi was. Mature, blue-collar rock music. There you go.
Night Songs. The opening song, Night Song, is awesome.
Love that track. Love Night Songs.
Yeah, great song. Yeah. Can I say one thing as well, though? I love it when a rock band in the 80s. What I loved about a rock band in the 80s is sometimes, in this case, they took a Disney princess and turned it into a rock band. I love that when they take like quite an innocent name and then turn it into this rock thing.
Quite cool.
I love that. I think that's great. Like it almost it's a juxtaposition of kind of what the image of rock music is versus a Disney princess. That's kind of cool the way they did that.
It's quite funny. We were talking about this the other day. It's like we went and talk. I think Don brought it up. So talk about Pretty Maids and
Alice in Chains.
And Alice in
Chains.
Yeah, I like Cinderella. Why would I buy a band called Cinderella when I thought I wouldn't like Britney Fox or all these? Yeah, it's weird. Gone. Who knows what you like when you're 14? You know.
It's cool. No, I get the point you make. It's a cool choice. It's brave, but it's cool.
Yeah. Definitely. And Cinderella are one of these bands now, highly thought of all these years later as well. People go fucking mental for them, which is cool. And they've got they're another one of them bands, and they would book up any show, like you said earlier on about FM. If they booked up a show with 1,000 people in it, it would get sold out easily and it would get packed out without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
Easy. Yeah. Guys, that's a great discussion on Cinderella. I loved it. We're going to bring on some British metal now.
Wow. Here we go.
I was going to get Mark. I don't know, Mark. You're not a massive Maiden fan, are you?
I'm not as big a Maiden fan as you and Jam are.
But this is one of Jam's favourite albums. So Jam, why don't you get your album out and have a little chat about this? But you do like it, not this album. You
I've got it here. I'll comment after Jam.
I feel like I'm hogging the show now. Sorry.
No, well, hold the album out and let Mark have a little chat about it first. Then, there you go.
This could be, Darren, you won't be able to see this. You need to study this. Go on Wikipedia, get this album cover. If you've not seen it before, I wouldn't say it's the best album Iron Maiden cover in the sense of impact. So obviously you're talking Peace of Mind, Power Slave for just looking at the picture. But this one, you study this. If you're a big Maiden fan, you'll study it. We used to, Lee will know this. We used to sit there for hours looking at this album cover because it's got all the intricacies of all the Maiden stuff on it. It's absolutely unbelievable, this album cover. Yeah. And the back.
Well, is that an original, Jam?
Yeah. All my albums are original. Yeah.
It's shiny, isn't it? And it's shiny.
Do you know what always astonishes me, Lee, with Jam and with Mark? All their album covers always are in pristine fucking condition.
I know.
I mean, I have a Fleetwood Mac album I bought about 2 years ago. It's got a coffee cup on it. Whereas these guys have these albums all these years and they're in pristine. It's unbelievable.
When I was 14, we did a woodwork project, and I said, "What do you want? This is boring, but what do you want to make?" And I went a box to keep my vinyls in, and I made one, and it's still there now. That's where it's come from, honestly.
You're still using it?
Yeah.
That's cool. Brilliant. That's cool. I like that. I love that. Yeah,
I'm actually really interested in because we're both from England, obviously, Jam, and we Maiden are just it's like fucking a cup of tea in it. They're as popular as a cup of tea, Iron Maiden. So I'm interested to know what you think about this album, Mark, because being from the States, obviously.
Well, I wish Bryan was here because Bryan worships Iron Maiden.
Well, he's put Maiden. He's put a comment, just a fucking Maiden in capital.
Yeah, I like Maiden. I like a lot of their stuff, but I'm not with Maiden like I'm with Sabbath. That's my comparison there. But what I will say, my all-time favorite Iron Maiden song is on this album, and it's "Wasted Years."
Yeah.
Absolutely love that song. That's another one giving me chills every time I hear it now. That opening, that riff. I don't know if you've noticed it. Yeah, Michael Sweet and George Lynch stole that riff on the first Sweet Lynch album.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember which song it is, but I mean, first time I heard that, I said, that's Wasted Years right there, baby. But yeah, I love that song. Stranger in a Strange Land. That's probably
underrated song.
Jam's
probably my favorite Adrian Smith guitar solo.
Yeah.
His solo in that is just so tasty, for lack of a better word. Alexander the Great. There's some great stuff on that album.
Every song on this album has got a sing-along chorus, which not always with Maiden. You don't always get that. Every song on here is fucking brilliant. And it got a lot of stick at the time, apparently. I mean, I was too young to remember.
It did, mate. It did, yeah.
Because they brought in synths. They didn't bring keyboards. They brought in,
it was like guitar. They brought in guitar synths. That's what
guitar synths, yeah. But every song on here is fucking brilliant. Stranger in a Strange Land, one of the most underrated songs Maiden have ever done. Deja Vu, fucking brilliant. Alexander the Great, brilliant. Half these songs they never played live, and they did the Somewhere Back on tour in about 10 years ago. Me and my brother went to see it, and with those people seen it, obviously it was all around the world.
Iron Maiden is a big deal,
play
dude.
Half the songs off this album. They still played the same ones they played last time. So they didn't play Stranger in a Strange Land. They didn't play Alexander the Great. They didn't play Deja Vu.
Yeah, they've never played Alexander the Great. There's something about that. Apparently, they won't play it. I don't know why, but it's a great. It is a great.
Iron Maiden just kicks ass. Period. I mean,
all over the world. Yeah,
but I say to Darren when he comes back, he needs to study the album cover. I suppose it won't mean so much to him because it doesn't. You can see the Ruskin arms and the old hammer.
Exactly.
And Flight of Icarus up there, and I think there's what else is in there?
We've got a lot of comments here as well, Jam. We've got Brian says, it obviously said Maiden. Jonathan Johnson, Wasted Years is a jam.
Yeah.
1982 DMC says, Wasted Years is my favourite Maiden song too. So there you go. Mark.
That's my. Sorry, just want to be DMC. That's my pal Dara of Rawlinson's Play School. He's an absolute legend, and I love him. And he's a big rock fan.
So his favourite Maiden song is the same as Mark's Maiden song. Clayton makes a really good shout here for a great song on the album. What about the loneliness of the long distance runner? What a fucking song that is!
Every song is great. Every song is great.
Yeah. That's one of Brian's top 3 Maiden albums. Yeah. Maiden are fucking fantastic, man. They're working on new music as well. Apparently, might be out this year or next year, I reckon. So there you go.
And by the way, Jam, the beauty of AirPods is while I'm taking a piss, I can hear while you're talking. So I heard what you said about the cover, and I'll definitely study it.
I mean, you need to.
Just like me when I left, I was like, sorry, can't say anything, but I have to go. Choo-choo.
As long as we can't hear it back the other way, that's probably better, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, the only thing, Dad, I'll say is it's probably more in jokes for us Maiden fans. You know what I mean? So you perhaps might not get some of the imagery, but it's definitely worth studying.
Oh yeah,
100%. 100%. You know me, Jam. I love that kind of stuff. So yeah. Absolutely.
Right, we've only got 2 albums left to talk about on the 4 votes. Then we've got the main album. Oh yeah. But the next album, I did have Jonathan to talk about that.
Can't be me again.
We can have. I'll tell you. Well, we've got Ozzy, Ultimate Sin. Who wants to talk about that? Who wants to talk about Ozzy, Ultimate Sin?
Yeah, it's going to be Darren. Sorry, not Darren. Mark.
You know it's not me.
Yeah, I love
Ozzy.
I don't know who voted.
I saw him. Here we go, Darren. September 12th, 1986. There's my ticket stub. Let's see. There we go.
Lee, this is insane. Lee,
love it.
This is ridiculous, Lee. This is ridiculous that he's able to just pull them up like Lee. Remember that time he pulled up some confetti? That's when I knew.
Oh, the black
in the
confetti.
Ziploc bag. That was awesome.
The black confetti from the
I love it.
Still got a piece laying here, by the way.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I love it.
He's fucking weird. He's fucking weird. That's all you can say in it. Weird.
It's unbelievable, Lee. Remember that? It's unbelievable. Anyway,
if you
sorry.
can catch something from an awesome concert, do it.
Anyway, that was Ozzy and Queensryche touring for the next album we're going to talk about. So that was one of the best shows I've ever been to. I think overall I prefer Bark at the Moon by a hair, but it's a very thin hair. I love this album. There's not a bad song on it. Love every song on this album. Ozzy was, we used to call him, at that time we called him Fat Oz because he was kind of overweight and he was bloated.
Yeah.
And, he wore all the
drinking a lot.
Sequined outfits, and again, he looked kind of like a drag queen at the time, but probably not his best time as far as his health. He was still trying to recover from losing Randy Rhoads and all that.
Yes.
He had Jakey Lee, and Jakey Lee was just a fucking beast.
Oh, yeah.
Love the 2 albums he did with Jake. I wish before Ozzy finally hangs it up, he and Jake would mend fences enough to do a show or do a single song or something. Would love for that to happen, but it probably never will. But there were some great hits on this album.
Man, Ozzy was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Yeah.
It's my favourite Ozzy album. A lot of that's to do with Jakey Lee, I think. Yeah. But I fucking love this album, and it's not loved by, again, it's sort of down the list for a lot of Ozzy fans.
Well, even Ozzy doesn't like this album. He calls it the Ultimate Den.
He deleted it from his. I think they deleted it from his catalog, didn't it? A little bit.
Yeah. This was a reissue. I don't think you can even get it anymore. But Ozzy himself, I guess maybe because of disputes with Jake as far as songwriting or whatever, Ozzy doesn't. He kind of denies the whole, or not denies, but
it still plays Shot in the Dark. It still plays Shot in the Dark live.
I fucking love that song, man.
I just think that it all came crumbling down for him when he lost Randy, and that's just my honest opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Well,
Jonathan, sorry, mate. Jonathan's commenting because he actually voted for this. It's his favourite Aussie album as well. Jake E. Lee. Obviously, Jonathan's a guitarist, isn't he? He fucking loves Jake E. Lee. Unbelievable, great songs. And we got someone. Darren. We got someone as weird as fucking Mark. Delina also keeps her confetti. There you go.
I would.
What the hell is wrong with these people?
It ain't just me.
Here's what happens. I don't know what you guys do, but here's what happens when a gig ends for me, right? When a gig ends and the lights come on, I go, where are we going for a fucking beer? Let's go. I don't go, I'll pick up some of the confetti.
Well, 20 years from now, Darren, you might regret that.
I met the Scorpions drummer, and he was so drunk one night. He was like, and I was like, it's awesome to meet you two, bro. And it really was. I don't care how drunk he was.
Oh, you found someone, you found your soulmate there, Mark and Delina.
There we go.
There you go.
Having said that, Mark, I do take my hat off to people who think forward and go, I'll pick up a bit of that bag of confetti and I'll do this. But I think, Jam, what you're going to say is you're with me. Lights come on. Where are we going for a beer?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. I've already had about 40
and Mark too, though. So I'm a mixture of all you guys.
I've already had 40 beers. I'm straight to the bar after, mate.
But it's worse. He didn't just bring it home, Darren. What did he do? What did he do with his confetti? Come on, Mark.
He put it in a fucking bag.
No, he also didn't.
I got a bunch of it laminated. Yeah,
laminated. There you go. Fucking laminated.
I would too. I would laminate it. Then I'd go to the bar.
Exactly. Yeah. Jonathan says, Mark, do you have any artist sweat in your collection at all? Have you got any sweat collectors?
Afraid not.
Right. Listen, guys, we done on Aussie. We're all saying that's a fantastic album. But next, look. Next is this.
Right. Your lead, Lee. Your lead.
Yeah, you gotta take this one, Lee.
What an amazing album. I think we've all voted for this apart from Darren. But Darren, after he's listened to Operation Mindcrime, he's gonna love this. He's gonna love this even more.
I do love Operation Mindcrime. That's still a work in progress for me at the moment. I'm not ignoring it. It is a work in progress, and it is a great album.
Quality takes time.
Empire should be next, though, before this one, I think. But go on.
This is just amazing. This blew my mind. When I was a kid, it blew my mind, this album. It was just so far ahead of its time. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing, honestly. It sounded futuristic, so progressive. And it's just sounded, when bands catch like lightning in a bottle when it's just perfect. A 10 out of 10. And I think this album's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Love it.
Just everything about it. It's just, even sounds all them years ago, probably not that now, but you sounded a bit weird as well. It sounded so, what are they doing on this bit of the song? That just sounds fucked up. But then you just gets into your mind and before you know it, I was just hooked on this. And man, we talk about overplayed songs, don't we? We've talked about it a little bit with Living on a Prayer, and Don't Stop Believing is another one for me. We've talked about Journey, we want to talk about that. But if we want to talk about this album, it sounds, I could listen to this album on repeat after hearing it thousands and thousands of times. It's just amazing. My missus heard Walk in the Shadows earlier. It came on. Yeah. Oh man, it came on. We was driving from Cornwall to here, and it came on Spotify on a little random, and she said, that is a great song. And she's not a massive Queensryche fan. But she could. Oh yeah, that's your favourite Queensryche song as well. yeah, exactly. But Jonathan, because he ain't here, he says Rage for Order is a masterpiece, without a doubt. Very few bands get one masterpiece in their career. Queensryche had two, almost three. Well, I know, Jam. Empire's your one. I love Empire. And it's just for me, just behind. And some people say The Warning is Even the Warning's a masterpiece. It just depends what you like, doesn't it? But them two, for me, Rage for Order and Operation Mindcrime, man, there's not many bands that have made 2 albums that good together.
Right. Back to back.
Back to back. Absolutely amazing. I've got 2 Rage for Order t-shirts as well, so that's how good it is.
You got a red one too, don't you?
I've got a red one as well, yeah. So there you go. I don't get many.
I bet you have more. You just don't admit to it.
Yeah.
Did you know that they tried the production label tried to get them to do more of a gothic look? That's why Rage for Order they dressed in the black, all the black.
Yeah, and at the time, look at that. Look how weird they look now, and also they was really into they was reading a lot about vampires and stuff like that at the time. So Walk in the Shadows was actually apparently about vampires. And anyway, getting back to my t-shirt quickly. Sorry, Jam. What I love about this t-shirt is right at the top. It's got the look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
The Tri-Rike.
I love it. Right, yeah.
Shadows would have fitted into the Lost Boys soundtrack quite well, wouldn't it?
Tri-Rike was the biggest.
That'd be good,
to me, was the biggest thing for that album.
Oh, actually, man. Darren, have you done a Lost Boys soundtrack review?
No, but I have a couple of soundtrack reviews I'm going to do but that's definitely in there because that's an amazing soundtrack.
Oh yeah, quality,
yeah. And also I want to thank Jam as well because he mentioned this to me, and I did actually I did write all the dates down for the albums anyway. But he did mention me the other day. He messaged me and said, "Totally right. Tomorrow, well, for England, in an hour and 25 minutes, this album we're talking about is 35 years old." There you go.
To the day
already.
Yeah, 35 years old. Rage for Order. Amazing.
Wow.
From start to finish, man, perfect album for me. So. Absolutely brilliant album.
Overall, I think Operation Mindcrime is still my favorite album as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But this album kicks off with by far my all-time favorite song, which you just mentioned, "Walk in the Shadows." Just another one, mind-blowing. Every time I hear it now, it's like hearing it for the first time. I never get tired of it. It just gives me the chills, gives me the goosebumps. Just fucking amazing song.
Yeah. Brian's actually said, who would compare with Jeff Tate in his prime?
In his prime.
Listen. I've got with Jeff Tate. I've got a bit of a love-hate thing with him, especially the way he is as a person.
Right.
I mean, it puts me off a bit with him as a person. But man, when you look at his vocals. When you hear him, like for instance, in Japan on "Take Hold of the Flame" in that video,
nobody can beat him.
No one
can beat him.
No one. But now, give me Todd La Torre now. A bit like Journey, Darren. You give me Jeff Tate. Yes, I'll have him from 1986. I'll have him in Queensryche right now. But right now, I want Todd La Torre because he's better.
Lee, me and you, and even with Journey, me and you are totally in agreement there.
Yeah,
Arnel Pineda now is like when you play Steve Perry even now, you kind of go, he sounds good, but he's 70 odd.
Yeah,
whereas Arnel,
no,
he's not, and he still sounds great. Like We're Still Here is a great song, but Arnel is better, and you'd rather that singer in the band now. Just on Queensryche, my pal DMC 82 or 82 DMC, whatever he calls himself, whatever he thinks is cool on his handle. Derek Cleary, he actually said to me about the Operation Mindcrime. We had a few beers 2 weekends ago, and he said to me, "When are you getting that Operation Mindcrime video up?" Because I think he quite likes that video as well. So he asked me, "Where are you on that?" So he surprised me with that because when we're sitting across from each other and we're playing a few tunes, I didn't think he was like a Queensryche fan, but I think he is. I think he loves that Operation Mindcrime album. So he might tell me different now in the comments, but there you go.
So
a month ago you told us it'd be 2 weeks, and we're still waiting there, buddy.
That is true.
What can I say? I'm a fucking liar. What can I say?
Hey, Darren, if you're going to do one, I say if Mark is Operation Mindcrime and Lee is obviously Rage for Order and I'm Empire, if you ever get to decide of the three, it'd be interesting.
It'll be Operation Mindcrime because I'm literally pretty much got the script completed, so I'm not going back on anything else.
Jam has some catchy vibes.
If you listen to them all, I think you'll prefer Empire. I think Empire will be your
listen, I actually do think he'd prefer Empire.
I can't start again.
I do think he'd prefer Empire because I sort of getting to know Darren's taste in music. I think he would, but he needs to do Mind Crime just to give it. Even if he hated it, I'd like to know what he thinks of it.
I've another video as well in motion. Delina is sending me the new Styx album, so that'll probably be my next review. But Operation Mind Crime.
You need to tell her that I saw Styx.
Yeah, she's on here anyway, so she knows you've seen them. But Darren, what are you saying? You're going to do Styx before you do Operation Mind Crime? Is that what you're saying?
Delina has sent me the LP, or it's in motion at the moment. So
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I just
get on it.
Anyway,
it is great. It is great.
The winner.
Yeah, we're up to the. So, like I said, I've been going on about my stupid fucking reminders about coming onto the show and
Lee.
I did also say that this is the only album out of all the shows we've done so far. I know this is only the fourth one, I think, but this is the only album we've all chosen. There you go. Look at that. Darren, have you got one?
I don't, but I would say that album sleeve and that album. Can we have it one more time? Just the artwork is just
keep it up there. Yeah.
I love the. Obviously, this is a different album shirt that I'm wearing, but the way the font, and we talked about font earlier, Jam, is like it's that puppet straight, like it's just on. It's great, isn't it? It's such a iconic cover.
I can paint that. I would love to paint something like that.
It's good. It's a great album. Do you know what the weird thing about this?
Awesome.
I've only really thought about this as you held this up about this album. The same band, Darren, which is Metallica, obviously, with their Black album. I loved their Black album, right, when it came out. No, listen, I know, Jam. I know it's considered as their sellout, but I loved it when it came out. But I tell you what, I can hardly listen to any of them songs now. But that album there, Master of Puppets, I can listen to again and again and again and again. It's so much better.
We've talked about this. We've talked about this a few times, Lee. We almost just disagree slightly. Master of Puppets is their main album for you. For me, it's Ride the Lightning. Obviously, I got the shirt. That's my favorite Metallica album. I've seen Metallica very close. I've seen Metallica live. Saw them in 2019 live. Incredible band. But Master of Puppets is your favorite album, Lee, isn't it? By this band.
Yeah. What about Injustice for All, which came after Master?
You and Jam. Yeah, you and Jam agree on that one. And Justice for All. Yeah. So. Yeah,
but I mean, what was so critical about Masters, was the fact that they lost Cliff. Yeah,
I still think they lost. For me, some of the songwriting went downhill after Cliff Burton went for me. But it's still a great album, by the way, Justice for All.
Yes.
But yes. I don't know.
Can I ask a question on Master of Puppets? Because I'd be interested to know from. Obviously, I really like Metallica, but I've told you guys a number of times this is about as far as I go. Metallica, AC/DC, it's about as far as I go onto the scale. They're as loud as I go. Let's say. Why only one single? I don't get it. Why only the title single? Why did they not release anything else from this album?
I didn't know they didn't release anything else. To tell you the truth, mate.
I didn't know they released any singles.
Master of Puppets was a single, wasn't it?
I know they didn't release any videos.
They didn't release any videos. They might release singles. Not that I know. No.
Only one single from this album. It's strange.
Yeah, mate. But listen, they were very different from anyone else at that time, so perhaps they were different in every way.
I'm not sure Metallica released any singles I know of until Injustice for All. But it might be wrong. I mean, maybe in America, but I don't think
I thought Master of Puppets was a single. Released in July 2nd.
That album was considered one of the best albums ever.
Oh yeah, when you see when you see the best metal albums of all time, that's either number one or number 2. It's like that, Number of the Beast, or they sort of flick about as the best metal albums of all time.
I don't have a problem with all these lists, though. I think they're always the same ones, aren't they? They're always the same ones, cliched out again. It's this. Is it really, though? Do people actually vote on them, or do people are force fed what they're allowed to vote on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the problem for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But
let's talk a little bit then. Let's talk, let's shoot the breeze here a little bit on the makeup of the band at the time. How they were. They were quite solid as a band at the time. Where are we at in terms of the band themselves, Hatfield and the gang?
Metallica?
Well, the pinnacle of the pinnacle, aren't they?
Yeah, that was
right
when they
now?
was at their best. No, not now, but they was at their best. That was when they was at their best, without a doubt. On that album, for me, they were just. I mean, man, this is another album that it was too heavy for me at the time in the 80s. I thought, oh my God, what's that all about? Battery and all that. I was thinking, that's a bit punky, that's a bit fucking. And then it just grew and grew and grew. It's weird, isn't it? The albums that don't get you straight away are the ones that feel fresher now. I was hooked on Appetite for Destruction from the moment I heard it. I can't fucking hardly listen to it now. You know what I mean? So it's like the ones that you grow on you are the ones that stay with you more.
I think I think there's something about James Hetfield, isn't there? Like that.
He's a rat bastard.
Like I love, and it's much lighter than this, but I love a Lou Gramm. I love that, but he's a great voice, but he's not a big character. You know, that kind of way. Nope. I don't identify with him in any kind of neither's Lawrence, but I don't identify with Lou in any kind of way. I don't really know much about him. I don't really. His wife follows me on Twitter. That's about as close as I get to him, right? But with James, there's just something vulnerable about him, but tough about him, but.
Yeah, all the problems he's had as well, and he's been through a lot.
There's something about James, isn't there, that you can kind of go, I can almost identify with him a little bit and go, like, he has his troubles, but he's a tough character, but he's a soft soul and a hard. You're right, and a hard shell. There's something just great about James Hetfield, isn't there?
Yeah,
I can't put my finger on it.
I was going to say, I don't know. Everyone says, "Oh, Cliff Burton died when Metallica died," but do you reckon they would have just done another 6-7 thrash metal albums exactly the same as Master of Puppets? Would they have been any greater? You could argue that when he went, James Hetfield and Lars took over, did something different, and they become the biggest metal band in the world. I don't know. I'm not answering the question.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? You don't know what was going to happen. You're totally right, and
they could have just done 7 or 8 of them and done nothing like.
This is a problem though, Jam, isn't it? That it's all over social media. People just live in the fucking past, and they can't get past Cliff Burton dying. They can't get past fucking Steve Perry leaving Journey. They can't get past Jeff Tate. They just can't.
Right.
They just can't.
Even Lou Gramm Lee. Like, they can't get past any of it.
So,
but I have to admit, the new Metallica stuff, I am sorry, it sucks.
It's for me, it's like
I don't like it.
It's an improvement for me.
Yeah.
But the trouble is,
different.
It's like I think that there's something in it. It's something like that hunger that they had back then ain't there. Yeah. That's all it seems.
The last Metallica albums,
I can see that.
I think they're good. Yeah. I think they're okay. I think they're pretty good. I'm looking. I think they're trying to get back. Even with St. Anger, they tried. I think they thought we're going to go as heavy as we can, but they didn't. They just didn't succeed at all.
They'll have to find another basis, though.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of it, Lee, that, and I know you don't like them, Lee, I get it, but I remember seeing an interview with Noel Graham once, and he said, Noel Gallagher once, and he said, I'm 50 now, I can't write from the experience of a 21-year-old because I'm just not that, I'm rich, like it's like Lars, like you see documentaries and Lars is buying farms with his dad, you kind of go, you ain't the guy that started out, that kind of way. How can they possibly?
It can't be.
Totally agree.
It can't be that.
They can. They're detached at this point. They're wealthy and they're rich and they're elite.
And even if they do try, it's like it's a fake try, isn't it? and people could see
fake
through it.
try.
That's the problem.
It's not exactly. It's not. It doesn't come, and that's the Noel Gallagher piece I'm getting at, where he admits it. I can't write from that perspective of being a guy from a council estate anymore, because now I'm rich and I'm living all my dreams, and I can drive any car I want and I can fly wherever I like. I think we almost, and I get what Gene is saying, but we can't hold them to the standards of Master of Puppets anymore.
No,
because
totally
that's
agree.
just
Totally agree.
they've lived different lives since then.
Right.
And yes, I've seen them in 2019. They played to 50, 70,000 people at Slane Castle, and they can still belt out the tunes because they're talented musicians and they can go through the motions and do it. But they certainly can't fucking write like that anymore, because how could they?
I'll give you an example.
Totally.
Michael Sweet.
And
the ball was pretty good then.
Yeah, there is the odd tracks, but it's even with Maiden now. You could say they're good, but they haven't got that same fucking thing that they had.
You still have to have that inner real want to be able to just go out there and still continue to do something like that, which you
Paul
guys are
McCartney
right.
can do that, Gina. Paul McCartney can do that, but Paul McCartney can do it because he likes going out being a musician. Paul McCartney ain't the guy from Liverpool anymore in the 60s.
Well,
How can he write like that? He
I
couldn't.
mean, he's 80 years old.
But he can do it for the love of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're still young enough and you still have the drive for, I mean, like I'm saying, take Michael Sweet, for example. Michael Sweet was really young and really talented. The man is still not old. I mean, he's 50-something years old, but he still has the drive and still sounds the same and still has that want to do something new, add a little old, add a little new, and just combine it and just make it.
I must agree with Gina a bit there. There's certain musicians, and he's one of them, that's still bringing things fresh, and you still are amazed at what they're bringing out. Still, there's the occasional ones, but there's not many. There's not many of them.
Not many.
There's not many of them at all out there. Anyway, listen, that's the end of our list. What an amazing album Master of Puppets was.
Can we have
Yes.
maybe one or two deep tracks? Anyone want to recommend a deep track from Master of Puppets?
Fucking hell! I mean man.
Damage Incorporated, obviously, last track.
I like, Damage Incorporated, real thrashy track. The thing that should not be is just so fucking heavy and slow and doing it. It's amazing. Orion is amazing, even though I don't like instrumentals. It's just one of the most amazing instrumentals I've ever heard. Welcome Home Sanitarium.
Sanitarium's not deep
cut.
No. Well, yeah, you're right. Well, I suppose when we talk about deep cuts, we sometimes think of singles, but none, like you said, there was only one single off that. Someone's actually confirmed that. So with you, Darren, Master of Puppets was a single.
Master of Puppets was a single. It must have been an edit. It must have been an edit. It's about
maybe.
10 minutes long.
I know. But there's a lot of Metallica fans or a lot of Master of Puppets fans here. Jonathan Johnson, my top 3 albums of all time. He said it changed music forever.
Probably did.
Master of Puppets was the only single released. Brian said that. It might have been in America. I don't know, Jan.
I'll have to look that up.
This made me laugh. I remember the first time I heard the song Battery, and it was so heavy it scared me. That was Jonathan Johnson. I agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of Michael Sweet, was To Hell with the Devil ever mentioned? Yes, Clayton Durr. Yes, To Hell with the Devil was mentioned a lot.
Drink before honourables.
Right, let's go through the honourable. As Jam's going to get his drink, has anyone got any honourable mentions? We're going to go to Mark first. Have you got anything that didn't make the list, mate, that you want to speak about?
I got several here. I'll just run through them real quick. Got to mention My Loudness Boys, Lightning Strikes. Somebody early on mentioned Messiah Prophet, Master of the Metal. Probably my second favorite Christian band behind Stryper.
I've never heard of them.
There you go.
Incredible album. Sacred Right is Nothing Sacred. Great Hawaiian band I've mentioned before. The Trick or Treat soundtrack, which was done in Fast Way.
Yes.
Great freaking album.
That's a good one.
Great White, Shot in the Dark. Kind of before they hit it big, but my favorite song by Great White is the title track. And then I got a couple of live albums: Lizzie Borden, The Murderous Metal Roadshow, Crocus, Alive and Screaming.
Oh, nice.
And then somebody
Great
mentioned
cover.
earlier, Hurricane, Take What You Want. Love that album cover, by the way. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
It's like,
Oh, yeah.
And then Jafria, Silk and Steel.
Now, Mark, someone ages ago mentioned Jafria, and they said, is anyone going to mention them? Yeah, I mean, the guitarist, was that when the guitarist, before that, he then joined Dio? Was that right, or before that?
Ingwing? Are you guys talking about Ingwing?
Craig Goldie was in them. I don't think he actually played on this album, though.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the credits, but I don't think he was on that album.
Quite an AOR band then, when
they were fairly heavy. I mentioned this before, and I don't want to ruffle Darren up again, but they opened for a Foreigner on the '84 Agent Provocateur tour.
He's gone there.
And Jafria was pretty freaking heavy compared to Foreigner. I mean, I thought they were a little bit of a mismatch because they were pretty metal to be touring with Foreigner.
Yeah.
But, great band. Had a couple of minor hits.
Remember that time you could just go on the Agent Provocateur tour and just go, I was on the Agent Provocateur tour. Fuck that. Seriously? Me and my
I'm sorry, Darren. I'm sorry.
I have to watch videos of that. Anyway, whatever. Sorry.
Anyway, Gina, have you got any ones that didn't make the list you want to mention?
Not honorables, not really.
I think most of the ones that Gina actually asked for we all voted for as well. So
yeah, pretty much.
Good taste, obviously.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Everyone.
Yeah. No,
I will say this, and it is nothing to do with '86. Manimally, that song that you did the
Animal. They were good. They were, yeah.
Manimal, yeah, good band. Yeah, proper metal. Yeah, good band. Their album will be out, I think, August, October, is it? Yeah, October. So they're a good band, very good band, metal band.
Awesome, loved it.
Darren, I'm sure you want to mention some honourable mentions, mate.
Well, here's where Sleeve Saturday takes over the Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews airwaves, right? Here we go. Gina's already mentioned them. Europe, the final countdown. I love Europe, man. I told you this a million times. I love Europe. Big fan. Yeah, but again, as we've talked about many, like we did with John Bon Jovi.
We don't need to talk about. It's a song we don't
that album is more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Anyway,
I agree.
Anyway, I'll keep going. Queen, A Kind of Magic. Big fan of Queen. Like that album. I mentioned it, Jam, when we were on a call before, so I'm going to throw that in as well. Obviously, I have to throw in Genesis, Invisible Touch.
Great album.
Genesis.
Absolutely great
album. Genesis.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, see look at that.
Am I living in a parallel universe that Jam just said that's a great album? I can't believe it.
This song is cool.
Drive in the Last Fight. What a song.
Fuck. All right, okay. Right, here's where I lose my previous built-up credit with you, Jam, just now. Huey Lewis and the News 4, which was just a
Mark is a little. I love when Mark is a little snigger there.
Look at you all dying to death as I say it. Huey Lewis and the News 4 is a great album, right? It's a great album.
Is that the Back to the Future soundtrack?
No,
don't know it. Don't know it.
Huey Lewis in the News.
My wife and I were having dinner the other night, and at the restaurant, I heard Huey Lewis, and I told her, I said, I can never hear Huey Lewis without thinking about Darren.
I love Huey Lewis in the News. I know that is not your kind of audience, Lee, but I know. Look at you all going, yeah. No,
I do. I do like a variety.
Huey Lewis in the News.
He was
great
in the
musicians.
the other day. Did you see it?
He was in what?
The Blacklist. Do you ever watch it?
I'm rock and metal.
Blacklist the other day.
Okay,
Television series. Blacklist. Isn't it?
I didn't see that. All right, cool. Gina, I hear you, but Huey Lewis and News is still rock music for me.
Oh,
Get it?
they're
It's not
good.
the audience
Yeah,
for it.
absolutely. They're rock. I love them.
I'll move on.
I just like heavy.
An album I've talked about a couple of times here, Lee, a few times. Magnum Vigilante. I'll throw on that as well.
Yeah.
And you know what? While we've been on air, Frankie Sullivan from Survivor has just followed me on Twitter.
Oh, mate.
Oh.
Who is the mastermind of a lot of Survivor's big
Congratulations.
big hits.
Well done, mate.
And I'm going with their 1986 album with the late great, as we know, Lee, Jimmy Jameson, When Seconds Count. And I'm obsessed with Jimmy Jameson, my second favorite singer of all time. I've said this before. Survivor's 1986 album, When Seconds Count, with the late great Jimmy Jameson. So that's my honourable mentions.
Cool, mate. Jam, what you got, mate?
Well, I'm going to upset all the Christians. Most people's favourite album from 1986 is Raining Blood by Slayer.
Raining Blood.
Raining Blood, yeah, I love it.
It could be the ultimate thrash metal album. Obviously, this is before death metal was even invented. This is the birth of thrash metal, the band, one of the big four, obviously. I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable, this album.
Vinyl's is so gorgeous.
Beautiful.
We're talking. Right, it's 29 minutes long. Right, there's 10 songs. Angel of Death, which is about Joseph Mengele. Obviously, he's a Jewish man himself. He's talking about the horrible Holocaust and all that, and this fucking arsehole who's killing all these Jews. Angel of Death is about Red Blood, obviously, is the last song. That's 4 minutes long. So them two songs themselves are 9 minutes. This album is 29 minutes. So the 8 songs take up 20 minutes. They're all proper songs, verses, bridges, choruses, verses, and they take up 20 minutes. That's how fast it's fucking awesome. And it's the invention of thrash metal, pretty much heaviest thrash metal, speed metal, death metal, and everything.
Gorgeous album too.
Talk about it, and it's fucking brilliant. Raining Blood, what an album cover as well.
Well,
out there.
And hard as hell.
Brian was asking, mate. He was saying, "What about Raining Blood?" Because he said about that. So he was obviously that was going to be one of the albums that was chosen, but Brian pulled out, so that would have been one of the albums chosen. Sorry about that. You got any more?
Yes.
Beastie Boys.
You gotta fight.
Oh, you're right.
Beastie Boys. Now, this is going to get some shit, but the opening track, Rhyming and Stealing, is the opening riff from When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin. It's got Fight for Your Right on it, which is a pretty rocky metal track, and it's got No Sleep Till Brooklyn on it, which is Kerry King playing the guitar throughout. And this with Anthrax as well, because it's about the same time, isn't the birth of rap metal and whatever they called it in the 90s, but we all don't like it that much. Created, where did it come from? But the Beastie Boys obviously gone on to win Grammys and being a great band. And I was listening to this when I was a kid, and you know what? It stands up to the test of time. It's a fucking good album. They ain't just
one condition too.
It's a fucking good album. If you never heard it, Beastie Boys. Yeah, it's rap, but it's metal.
Jam, we've said this before. I absolutely adore the mashup of rock and rap with the Numb Encore song, which I think is just a great mashup. Anyway, that genre of music, when you mash together rap and metal or rock, I think it's great sometimes when it works.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally,
I agree.
Turbo, Joseph Priest.
Oh, that's another one someone's mentioned. Brian mentioned this one as well. So yeah, well done, mate. So he's asking about this one. Yeah.
Slated off, but Turbo Lover, what a great song.
Yeah.
All I can say, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brian mentioned Raining Blood on his comments. Obviously, that would have made it to the list, mate, because of you as well. And Turbo as well. He voted for that. He's also said about Trilogy, Malmsteen, the Yngwie Malmsteen. We're not huge Malmsteen fans on here, but we did like him with Jolene Turner. That's one thing.
He can play a mean guitar, though. I'm not gonna lie.
He can. He's good. He's good on the guitar. He just can't write a song. That's his problem.
Yeah.
What AC/DC album came out? Because someone's mentioned the AC/DC didn't make it. What 1982 DMC?
Well, it was Who Made Who, but there's only 3 songs, like two original songs. That's all.
Yeah, and I didn't even like Who Made Who, to tell you the truth.
I like Who Made Who, but it's only 2 original songs. It's a compilation.
I'd have to go back and look.
Did Dara shout out that album?
Yeah. Yeah, 1982. Your mate. Yeah, DMC.
Dara, yeah. Wow.
So also Delina said that guy, the Survivor guy, followed her as well, Darren. So you're not the only one who's famous today.
Oh, well, there you go. However, Delina Lee does run 2 Facebook pages that have nearly fucking, I don't know, 25,000 followers or something. So she is like...
Oh, she's more famous than any of us then. That's all right.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
She's also said that he probably followed you because you posted a killer Journey video, which was great, by the way, Darren. Your Journey video about the new song. I loved it.
We both have the videos out there, Lee, so absolutely.
Yeah.
We
both
love Journey.
Yeah.
I told Lee that you beat him to it. I don't know if he was happy or not.
No, yeah, you did. I like your concept though, Darren. The way you do it, it's better than you do a review rather than a reaction. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Lee, let's face
that's the reaction.
Let's face the elephant in the room here, Lee. We and you privately to each other have both admitted that we do our thing in totally different ways, and neither way is right, neither way is wrong. We just do it differently, and both are cool.
They are definitely. Delina, would I get blocked if I said Duran Duran?
I love Duran Duran.
Oh my God, I love Duran Duran.
I fucking love you. I'm not a big Duran Duran fan, but I love how you just like blow our minds sometimes. Like Mark does this too. It's like you just go, "You like that? Really? I can't believe it."
I love Duran Duran. Are you serious?
World. That's one of my favorites. I love that song, Ordinary World.
No, Gina, don't get me wrong. It's cool, but when Jam just goes, "Yeah, I like that," but then other times you go, like, I thought Jam would like Journey, hates Journey, but then goes, "I like Duran Duran." That's the beauty of it. Like you don't know where he's gonna come next.
I don't hate Journey.
Well, like you said, that's the beauty of it because he's got his mysterious selection of what he likes and makes it interesting and makes.
I like you too.
It makes all of you guys a great crowd to watch.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, right, I'm going to just run through my honourable mentions, guys. I've only got 5. I'm only going to name them. So you've got Black and Blue. Black and Blue. Have you done yours, mate, by the way? Sorry.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Black and Blue, Nasty, their best album as far as I was concerned.
Nasty.
Yeah. Kill, the band Kill, Final Frontier, their best album for me as well. Boston, Third Stage came out. I love that album. I thought it was a brilliant album, Third Stage. Zeno, I've mentioned this band before. Zeno Roth brought an album out. His sort of solo album, 1986, is amazing. And White Sister, one of my favourite bands that sort of come and went. Fashioned by Passion, they brought out in 86. So it was a great fucking year, man. 86 was just amazing. Absolutely amazing year. The best year as far as I'm concerned. And we're done.
Yes.
We're done. So listen, thanks for everyone, first of all, who commented and stayed with us through the show. There's quite a few more have joined us now, actually. So thank you very much for commenting all the way through. Some brilliant comments tonight. And
people are coming in from the pub, are they?
Yeah, exactly. And remember, you've got to remember, everyone, most of the people who watch my channel are in the US, so it's like later on. So that's why we do it at 8:30. Otherwise, I'll be in bed now. You know that, don't you? So there you go. So
you're lucky I stopped drinking until I didn't start drinking until 5. Usually be 3.
Well, I'll still be doing it when I get off of here. So
yeah, there you go. So,
but I mean,
listen, no, it's been a brilliant show.
It's been a pleasure. I mean, for you guys to have me here. Really,
no worries.
I mean,
it's been a brilliant show. 86 has been great.
I was a little nervous. I'm sorry, but
no, you've done brilliant. And obviously, we're going to be doing 85 next. So we're going backwards, as you know. So 85, start working on your list, guys. Sending me your favourites. And all them people watching at home, thanks for joining us. And I'll see you later.
Miss you, Brian. Miss you, Jonathan.
Woo!
Yeah.